Welcome everybody to a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video today. And this week sees the release of the crime drama City of Lies, hitting store shelves, along with the action comedy The Lovebirds. A few John Hughes classics are getting new Blu-ray editions. You have Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Some Kind of Wonderful and Pretty in Pink, and a major 4K upgrade this week with the Indiana Jones 4 movie collection set. Yes, all your Indiana Jones needs in 4K, not half bad, plus much more. So let's go see the deals, exclusives, and we are at our first location, Walmart. So let's go in and see what they got. All right, everybody, we are in at Walmart, and actually, truth be told, it does look much better. At least it looks more filled than it did last week, so we'll give them at least some credit this time around, guys. However, there is no new releases here at the Walmart this week. I'm not gonna lie, guys, there's none. I mean, they have the sections for City of Lies, the Blu-ray and the DVD, but none to show off. Even have Raiders of the Lost Ark and another one of the Indiana Jones movies, but those are completely empty as well. I mean, they do have The Courier, which came out last week. Really solid Benedict Cumberbatch movie. Definitely check that out. Embattled, Boogie. I mean, they got Lower Decks. Oh, geez. Well, they finally have Chaos Walking. It only took them over 2 weeks to actually put it out on the goddamn shelves, guys. Here's the problem when it comes to some of these newer releases, physical media-wise, especially when it comes to these type of movies, is that pretty much within the first week or two, if you're really looking for it, you're going to find it at some of the stores. If you're not really looking for it anymore, then it's just gonna sit here. And they have a lot of copies of Chaos Walking, man. I mean, wow, a ton of copies of Chaos Walking, man, a crap ton of them, and they just put them out. So these are just gonna sit. I hate to say it, but if you didn't put it out on release week, or maybe even they weren't even here the second week it came out, by the third week here, I don't know if they're really gonna sell. Maybe, but I kind of highly doubt it, guys. What do you think? I'm thinking they're not going to sell. Yeah, they're just going to sit. Collect dust on these ones, guys. I am seeing something new, though, that I haven't seen yet, and that is When We Last Spoke, with Corbin Burnson, Melissa Gilbert, Cloris Leachman. Nice. Oh, and Dove Approved. Very nice. Corbin Burnson and Dove Approved together. A match made in weird religious heaven? Maybe. What is this about? Based on the novel by Marcy Hanna. In 1967, two rambunctious sisters, Juliet and Evangeline, are abandoned by their mother at their unsuspecting grandparents' farm. Oh. Some of their sudden arrival, tender-hearted Walt and champion fiddler Ruby graciously stand in for the missing parents. Ah, okay, interesting. Almost like being surrogate parents and raising their grandkids, and sort of getting used to them and their old ways and the trials and tribulations of old people raising kids. Sure, why not, man? Actually, you want to know what this movie actually reminds me of? Is that movie Secondhand Lions. Do you remember that one with Michael Caine? Michael Caine was in that one, and a few other ones too. It's actually not a bad movie, actually. Really, really great flick. I actually think it's a really good coming-of-age film. And this might be one of those ones too, where like the young kids go to the grandparents and they're not really feeling it because it's the grandparents, and suddenly they learn to love them even more and learn valuable life lessons, that sort of thing. Kind of reminds me of that, man. I mean, not gonna lie, when I was a kid, I hanged out with some grandparents and I just thought it was kind of a bore. But I was young, okay, and my grandparents, you know, they weren't exactly the most exciting people in the world, so there was that, man. But you can learn a lesson or two from your grandparents. That's for damn sure. You definitely can, man. And when I actually wised up, yes, I did learn a lot of life lessons from my grandmother, who I loved and cherished. So of course I did. But you know, movies like this or Secondhand Lions, they don't make a lot of these type of movies. But when they do, actually, especially with Secondhand Lions, not bad. So. And trust me, if I was going to learn life lessons from anybody, it'd probably be Corbin Burnson. I mean, come on. Major League, LA Law. He's good, guys. He's awesome. Old school awesome, I should say. Not bad, man. However, that's as far as the new stuff that I'm seeing, because other than that, I mean, yeah, they do have a Trigger Point. That's cool. The Barry Pepper thing. They also have the 4K of the Outpost. Pretty good war film, but... other than that, not much else. Oh, well, they do have that Endangered Species movie. The crappy movie that tries to ape off of better movies like Roar and fails spectacularly. Fantastic. Well, at least they have that for everybody looking for Endangered Species, which is maybe one person. But hey, that one person will definitely be happy that they do have it finally. As far as the new stuff this week, well, better luck next time, guys. But hey, we will see it next week, though. I do swear we will. Let's see what else they might have to check out. And then over here, actually, they have this interesting display stand for not on streaming. Well, it only applies to subscription-based streaming platforms. But it's an actual interesting array of movies that have new slipcover additions to them. Sort of almost like spray paint art with sort of the characters' faces on them. Very interesting. We've seen some of this artwork before previously, but there are a lot of new ones, actually. Some are $5, some are $9.96, and others are $6.96. They have John Wick, which is awesome. John Wick Chapter 2. They have The Commuter, which is just an okay Liam Neeson movie. It's not really all that great. I mean, compared to movies like Taken and other ones, just okay. But of course, the John Wicks are amazing. They have Hunter Killer. Have Now You See Me 2. They have Jigsaw, which, by the way, I actually really enjoy this Jigsaw movie. I know when this movie came out, a lot of people didn't like it because I think the Jigsaw franchise kind of had run its course at that point, and people were kind of over it and kind of felt like there were way too many movies and they needed to take a little bit of a break. But I actually think this is a solid entry into the Saw franchise. I really honestly do. And I think with the new Spyro movie that came out, I think a lot of movie lovers are sort of reevaluating the Saw franchise. This one didn't get a lot of love when it came out, but I do think it's actually a solid Saw movie and actually way better than the seventh installment, which was supposed to be the final chapter. But any of us horror movie lovers out there know that when they say the final chapter, it's not really the final chapter. It's just a big bunch of lies. But this one actually is a really solid one, but it kind of pisses me off that we'll probably never actually get any answers to any of the questions that this movie posed, which kind of pissed me off because I thought there was some really cool, like how did Jigsaw recruit these people, and you know, why are they continuing it? What's their story? I'm very curious about this movie. Maybe if they do like a proper Saw sequel from this, maybe we will, but I kind of have a feeling that this movie didn't make as much money that I think people are really going to care about it. Just saying. But power of positivity, they just might at some point. Let's hope, guys. And actually, speaking of Now You See Me 2, it's an alright sequel. I actually kind of think the first one is way better, but there is some cool sequences in Now You See Me 2 that I like when they're like taking the card and shooting it around one another to try to hide it. I think that's a really cool sequence. That's actually not bad. Have that. They have Robin Hood. the David Harbour Hellboy, and the Long Shot. Now, I gotta admit, I don't know where they are coming up with more copies of the Taron Egerton Robin Hood, but we see new editions of this like all the time with different slipcovers, and they are trying to sell this thing like crazy. I don't think they're selling many copies of Robin Hood because it's just not that good of a movie. It's a really crappy Robin Hood tale. I mean, Taron Egerton's a good actor, Jamie Foxx is decent, but the movie's kind of just a really bad version of Robin Hood. They try to do sort of new age style Robin Hood stuff. It doesn't really work, and try to mix old school with it. Prince of Thieves is great. Men in Tights is great. The old school stuff with Errol Flynn is great. This one, not so much. I doubt they're going to sell many copies of Robin Hood, guys. And speaking of not selling many copies, I doubt they're going to sell many of Hellboy, at least the newer version of Hellboy here with David Harbour. I gotta admit, I was actually really excited to check this movie out. There's actually a movie review on the channel with Bob and I. We love those Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movies. We think they're absolutely phenomenal. And we thought, oh, cool, another version of Hellboy. Cool. Oh, it's not with Ron Perlman, and it's not directed by Guillermo del Toro. Okay, yeah. I just thought it was just a lame Hellboy version. They tried to add a lot of blood and gore and try to get a lot of the horror elements in there, but I kind of feel like they're just not as good as those other two Hellboy movies. And Mila Jovovich, unfortunately, is a piss poor villain in here. Not very effective at all. Hate to say it, but it is the truth, man. It's got its moments. I do really like David Harbour. I think the actual Hellboy makeup is not half bad, but honestly, I think it's kind of a weak link among the Hellboy films. Some people think I'm wrong, but I expected more, and I got a lot less. But I do think Long Shot is actually a pretty good film, though. I actually think it's really funny and actually kind of hilarious. I wasn't expecting much. I thought it was going to be a lame comedy, but Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, really good together. Really, really solid. Quite a lot like that one a lot. Of course, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, and I cannot wait until the fourth one comes out, maybe next year, somewhere around there. They actually just casted Donnie Yen in the next John Wick movie, and I'm like, my God, talk about an actor that is so fit for the John Wick world. I really hope that him and John Wick have a crazy-ass fight together, because that would be wicked, man. I mean, John Wick had a great fight with Mark Dacascos, and I'm like, dude, he's got to have one with Donnie Yen, please. That would be really cool, man. Awesome. They also have the first Now You See Me, and this is actually a really, really solid sort of magic action spectacle movie. Honestly, really is. Again, way better than the second one, and a lot of twists and turns that I never saw coming. Very interesting on that one. They got the Divergent series collection as well. Not bad, man. I gotta admit, not a bad series overall, all things considered. Not really terrible. Not great. I think my favorite of the franchise is obviously the first one, Divergent. Insurgent is probably my weakest, but Allegiant isn't half bad either, all things considered. However, I don't think they're ever going to really finish the franchise. They were supposed to do a fourth film, and the third film bombed so hard at the box office that they just basically ditched the whole idea of ever doing a fourth film. I thought it was going to be on Amazon Prime or something, that we're going to make it there, but that never happened. It's sort of one of those franchises that unfortunately I don't think we'll ever see this actually finish a proper full franchise, which is kind of a shame. It's got its moments, actually. I do really like Shailene Woodley. Theo James, alright, but not a bad sort of young adult sci-fi series. Not the greatest either. It's got its moments. Then you've got Boo, Madea Halloween, and Boo 2 as well. I've never really been a big fan of Madea. I know, I'm in the major minority, because everybody loves Madea, man. They eat that shit up for breakfast. Creep it real. You scared? Oh, Lord. I've only seen maybe one or two Madea movies. It's fine. I actually think Tyler Perry's really clever, because this character basically prints money. And he basically decided that he's going to retire the character But I've predicted before, and I'll predict it again, money talks, bullshit walks, and let's be real, he can't keep Medea retired forever. He will bring it back. Come on, guys. It's just, there's too much money at stake, too much, box office gold to basically just walk away, man. I'm telling you, it will come back eventually. Also, let's see, the same ones here: John Wick, Chapter 2, Hunter Killer, Hellboy, Robin Hood. They do have Escape Plan, the first film, which is very nice. I do really love the first Escape Plan. The second and third ones are just really straight to DVD garbage, which aren't really even good, and Stallone is barely in them. Batista's has some decent stuff, but he's not really used all that well. I don't think they're really all that great films, but the first Escape Plan is actually pretty solid. Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger teaming up together in his prison setting reminded me a lot of Lockup. Not bad movie. I would actually recommend this one, but honestly, probably stay away from Escape Plan 2 or 3. Just not good and not worth diving into. But the first one is actually pretty solid, all things considered. They have Deepwater Horizon, which I actually really like. Deepwater Horizon. I actually think it's a really thrilling film with great performances, the action with sort of the oil rig sort of blowing up around them, and they're trying to survive. Really, really fantastic, man. I thought Deepwater Horizon is really awesome, man. I highly recommend that one. A really good, like, Wahlberg flick. That's pretty good. They also have Sicario as well, and Sicario is absolutely fantastic. Benicio del Toro is amazing here, and so is Emily Blunt. A really amazing action thriller, tense, on the edge of your seat, so amazing of a movie. And I will say the second one is just as good as well. Maybe slightly less than Sicario, but I still had a really great fun with the second film. And I kind of feel that they're going to do a third film, or at least they kind of set up for that. But this is a great sort of action thriller showcase for Del Toro and for Blunt, man. And they both are amazing here. And actually, Josh Brolin is awesome here as well, man. Really seedy, but man, the acting is so spot on, man. I love this movie. And The Day of the Soldado, amazing flick, man. Definitely worth diving into, especially if you love Benicio del Toro, and I definitely do, man. Not bad. And the other thing I'm seeing is they also have Now You See Me 1 and 2. So they have Now You See Me and Now You See Me 2, and they have a collector's set of Now You See Me 1 and 2. So why get the singular releases unless you might as well just get the 1 and 2 together? I mean, what would you rather have in your collection? Jesse Eisenberg's face or Woody Harrelson's face? I'm picking a little Woody in my life. Come on, you can't go wrong with a little Woody. I know that sounds so bad. But come on, Woody Harrelson is so much better than Jesse Eisenberg. Please. It's not even a contest, man. But I don't know, really solid flicks, man. Definitely worth diving into. Not half bad at all, man. Actually pretty decent. Some interesting sort of splotchy, spray painty sort of artwork with the characters' faces splashed on. Not bad. Not exactly the most original slipcovers, but it kind of does the trick. And if you don't have any of them in your collection, hey, a new slipcover for the collection is not half bad, especially at these prices. Pretty decent, all things considered. And hey, they're not on streaming. Well, again, it only applies to subscription-based streaming platforms. But I'll take it, man. Physical media all the way, and you know how much I love my physical media. Not half bad, guys. All right. Some pretty good stuff to end our little Walmart trip, and I thought we weren't really going to see much. Go figure. Let's head out. Just when you thought all hope was lost, just when you thought, oh, we're really not going to see much, new, unique slipcovers come. They come crashing in and saving the day, baby. Sure, why not? New slipcover editions. Hey, we'll show them off. Why the hell not? I love my slips. So any new slipcover editions, I kind of have to show off, guys. All things considered, man. Not bad. Not the most original, but again, if you don't own any of those editions, not bad prices for some of them, and yeah, not really Blu-ray or 4K, but hey, there is a lot of people who still love DVD, and DVD is still one of the most selling physical media formats still going to this day. So why not bank on DVD? I mean, it's for a decent price, and if you don't have it yet, it comes with a slipcover, so win-win for the best of both worlds. Why the hell not? However, not really any new releases here. That's a problem, but hey, new slipcover editions sort of kind of save the day. Why not, man? When in doubt, show the slipcovers. That's for damn sure, guys. Alright, well, not really much new release love here, but maybe at the next store we'll see some more new release love worth diving into. Let's hope. Alright, everybody, we are at our second location, Target. But before I go in, I gotta talk to you guys about something. So, I was on the Blu-ray.com forums recently. I was looking under one of the message boards there, and I came across an opinion that I actually really agree with, and I kind of want to share with you guys. Putting something out of print is actually kind of the wrong term, because it implies an active choice. Allowing something to go out of print is probably a better term, because it's an entirely passive choice. It's keeping something in print that's actually active and requires emails to be sent and various people to approve it, and new stock to be pressed in Mexico, where there are waits for the available machines as we speak. And then to be shipped to warehouses and distributors in the US and all over the place. All that effort is only worth it if the title will sell enough copies to cover expenses. And this person ain't wrong, guys. You know, so I told you last week at the end of the video about the Amazon MGM merger, and I gave, I think, a little bit of a doom and gloom answer that some people didn't really like. I think a lot of people were like, well, wait a second, you know, you're really going overboard with this prediction. Now, truth be told, honestly, guys, the reason why I'm doing that, and this is not just for Amazon, it goes for Disney and it goes for a lot of other companies, boutique labels, you name it. They have to look at numbers at the end of the day. It's all about the numbers. That's what it is. And if they look at numbers and they say, well, this title only sold X amount of copies over the course of a year, 2 years, then it's not really worth putting out on physical media again. And that's where they go from that. And so I truly believe this, that Amazon, once they acquire MGM, will look at the numbers. They are going to look at the numbers of a lot of popular titles, yes, but they're going to look at a lot of other more obscure titles that have come out on physical media, and they're going to say, well, look, it didn't sell as many copies. And so why would we cover the cost and cover the expenses to print new editions and having to ship them out and all of the jazz that we have to do, obviously make new artwork and you name it, maybe special features, in order to just have it sell that only little bit of amount that it sold the last time? That's what they're looking at, guys. And again, it's not just Amazon, because Disney is going to be doing the same thing, and so will a lot of other companies. I mean, in fact, there has been some really fantastic interviews with the guys behind Scream Factory. And they've done podcasts where they have literally said, in their podcast, they said, look, they look at the numbers. They look how much they've sold on Amazon and some of these other sites, and they say that if they do not feel like, you know, they sold it on DVD years ago, if they don't feel like it's actually worth it putting it out on Blu-ray for only the certain amount that they're going to do, then they're not going to do it. Or they're going to do such a limited run that once it sells out, the prices are going to skyrocket on eBay. That's also happened, guys, and that will continue to happen. Either we're going to get no more editions of some of these releases, or we're going to get low amount print runs. We're going to get exclusive editions on certain sites that once they're gone, suddenly what you're paying then is not exactly the regular price cost. You're paying a skyrocketing cost that's going to bite you in the ass on eBay and all these other sites, because we're now, whether we like it or not, this is niche. We're in a collector's market now, guys. And so you have to understand that these scalpers now, they don't care if you missed out on that regular release. They are going to buy as many copies as they can, upcharge it up the ass on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, you name it. And if you want it, well, of course you're going to buy it. This is what we're living in now. And unfortunately, you have to understand that with Amazon and Disney, they make so much money that they don't really care about you as a consumer. They want your money. They want you to subscribe to their streaming site. They want you to pay, a certain, amount for if they put out that physical media copy. But if you don't buy it, it's not like they're actually sitting there, well, shucks, like John or Carl or whoever is not buying our product. They could give two shits. Okay, they could care less. Because when it sells out, then they're like, well, you're shit out of luck. You're going to find it somewhere else and paying more money. So congrats to you there, buddy. So that's what they're going to do. I truly feel like there are going to be certain titles out there, the popular titles, that will always get an edition regardless. And you know those titles. You know what they are, guys. But then there's going to be a lot of other titles out there, the more obscure ones, the little guys, the indie films that are going to go by the wayside, that are not going to get as much love and as much notice. And maybe they've only had one run on physical media. Maybe they've only had one go of it on Blu-ray and it didn't sell that well and we're not going to see another copy. Like I said, with certain mergers, like with the Disney Fox one or the Amazon MGM one, if you want certain movies, you better go out and get them. And I truly mean this because, yes, there's going to be more editions of other movies out there. But look at certain editions and you'll find that they're either out of print now and may not come back, or they are dangerously close to getting out of print, or they're so obscure of a title and not very well known that basically these companies won't really see the need to put them out since they've got their streaming service anyways. So you have to understand that it goes by the numbers, it goes by a certain percentage, and the fact that if they don't see it selling, they won't have a need to put it out. So just know that if something goes out of print and you have to pay more money for it, that's where the market is headed. And that's where these editions are headed, because I don't see these companies going out of their way for these smaller films like they will for the bigger ones. That's just my honest opinion, guys. Definitely let me know what you think, but I don't mean to be doom and gloom. I always try to be a hopeful optimistic with physical media, but at the end of the day, I gotta be real with you guys. I gotta be 100% with you, and I gotta tell you like it is. And this time around, even though it might be a little rough around the edges, it's something that needs to be said. Honestly, guys, it really does. But let me know what your opinion is on that. But in the meantime, it's a decent release week. Not that we saw a lot over at Walmart. However, well, we could see something over at Target. But in order to truly know, we got to head inside. So let's go in and check it out. All right, we are in at Target. And not bad, actually, as far as new releases are concerned. Not a bad little selection they got. I'm willing to dive into it if you guys are. So let's give that a go. But first, I gotta say that they actually got in more copies of Raya and the Last Dragon. If you've seen the last 2 or 3 Out and About videos, you'll know that Target got depleted in Raya and the Last Dragon. Redbox came in and literally bought them out of their copies, man. And so they've restocked. Is the Redbox Bandits gonna come back? Well, there's no telling, but right now, they have their stock in, so hey, if anybody's looking for it in the area, they've got them, but not sure how long that's going to be. But hey, for the meantime, they do have some Raya love right there. Not so bad. Now, the first thing I'm seeing over here as far as new stuff, we got City of Lies. The Blu-ray digital for $14.99. And I gotta talk about City of Lies, man. And let me be very real here. I was not prepared that this movie would ever see the light of day, and I truly mean that, guys, because this movie was actually supposed to come out in movie theaters in 2018, I believe, somewhere around there, and then the whole thing with Johnny Depp came out, the whole scandals and all of the issues about him, and the producers and the studio decided to bury the movie because of it. And there was no telling whether this movie was ever going to see the light of day, that it was just postponed basically indefinitely. And that's what happened with this movie. Now, some people have come out and said that there might be a conspiracy theory with the LAPD, that the LAPD wanted to bury this movie, and that's why some of the Johnny Depp stuff came out. Who knows, man? There's a lot of stories out there. There's a lot of things about, this movie and the subject matter and who wanted to bury it, who wanted the truth out there. But the fact that this movie was supposed to get a major theatrical release and then didn't is a little weird to me. Even with the Johnny Depp sort of controversy stuff, you thought you'd still at least see it out there in the market at some point, but it's been quite a while, and I thought we'd never get to see it out actually in any physical form. I'm so glad that I'm wrong. I have been wanting to check this movie out for a really long time, guys, and I finally did on Amazon Prime, and I am super happy that I got to see this. Basically, it's the true story of this detective played by Johnny Depp who is trying to uncover the truth of what happened to Biggie Smalls, what happened to the Notorious B.I.G., who actually killed him, and trying to uncover the truth behind all of that, and the lies and the deception and everything that comes with it. And I thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal, and I truly mean that. I think the acting here is amazing. Forest Whitaker and Johnny Depp are a masterclass in acting here. In fact, I'm actually going to go out of my way and say that had this movie come out in the movie theaters, Johnny Depp is that good in this movie that I might have thought that he could have possibly been at least nominated for some kind of awards, because he is that good in this role, guys. He is absolutely amazing, and I love the idea of just the deception and just all of the covering up of this. And basically, the theory that this detective has, played by Johnny Depp, and actually the same theory that the real detective had as well, is the fact that the LAPD was behind it. It was behind the whole killing, and basically they were working for Suge Knight, and Suge Knight wanted Biggie dead, and it was this whole huge, gigantic cover-up. Cops were working for Suge Knight, and they were on the payroll, and basically it was this massive, gigantic cover-up that happened because of it. And that's what he ended up trying to uncover. And basically, in this movie, the LAPD was trying to bury all of it, basically almost making this detective out to be basically a nut job. And basically, this one reporter, played by Forest Whitaker, is trying to uncover the truth and trying to maybe go down this rabbit hole of who's telling the truth, who's lying, where is the difference between fact and fiction. And I absolutely love this movie, guys. I mean, will the actual death of the Notorious B.I.G. and even Tupac, will that ever truly be solved? No. Because even to this day, there has never been anybody that has actually been formally convicted or even found to be guilty in that. There have been theories. There's been people that may have done it, may not have done it, but the rabbit hole of who actually killed these men still continue to this day. The fact that this movie goes through all the scenarios and the possibilities, and you know what this movie kind of reminded me of in a lot of ways? It actually reminded me of Oliver Stone's JFK, where there's all these different theories and who was the actual gunman, and where was everybody at the time of the murder, and who was connected with who at the time, and who's paid off this person, and who can you trust. And it was just a whole vast, just going down the rabbit hole of these various theories, and it was an amazing dive, man. It really truly was, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I thought this was a great dive into a real life murder that still has not been solved to this day. It was absolutely 100% phenomenal. I loved every single second of this movie. I thought it was actually going to be one of those movies, truth be told. I thought it was going to be one of those movies where it's sort of like maybe this courtroom drama type of thing where, you know, they're sort of mundanely talking about the evidence and everything, and you don't really get to dive into much, and it's just sort of this bore fest of people talking constantly about the case and yada yada yada. But no, it actually was not. It actually was really, really solid and really fantastic, man. I just absolutely love this movie, man. If you are one of those people that really is into crime dramas or true crime films, City of Lies is pretty damn solid, man. The acting is solid. I love the idea of going down this rabbit hole of theories that may or may not be true. And it's just incredibly fascinating for a case that is still as unsolved and mysterious as it is. And after so many years later, decades later, you would think that movies like this wouldn't be as intriguing, but it really is. And City of Lies is honestly one of the best. And the fact that it's been buried for all these years, be happy that we finally get it on physical media, guys, because that was actually a prayer that I was hoping would be answered. And years later, it finally is, and the movie is incredibly worth it. Actually, it's everything I was hoping for. And then I'm seeing they have the DVD digital of the Lovebirds unrated for $12.99. Now, this actually was supposed to come out in movie theaters. However, because of the COVID pandemic, Paramount ended up actually selling the film to Netflix, and it's still on Netflix at this very moment. So whether you will watch it on physical or on Netflix, it is available to watch regardless. It is out there in the marketplace, ladies and gentlemen. However, you know I'm all about that physical love. So if you like the film, why not pick up the movie? But I did get a chance to see it on Netflix. Now, I don't know if I exactly had high hopes for the movie, because I'm not the biggest fan of Kumail Nanjiani. He's not terrible, but a lot of people find him really funny, and I've never really thought of him all that funny. A little bit, but not to the level that some people find him. Like, okay, maybe. Sure, why not? I'll give it a chance, man. I like a good romantic action comedy. Why the hell not, man? So I gave it a go. Now, basically, it's about these two lovebirds, played by Aisa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani, and basically 4 years into their relationship, they're sort of bickering with one another. They're on the verge of basically breaking up. It's just getting out of hand, and one day something crazy happens. There's this guy who gets into their car and chases down this potential criminal, runs the person over with their car, and then proceeds to potentially get them in trouble with the cops, and they're potentially blamed for the murder, and then they're just trying to clear their names throughout the rest of the film. So it's sort of this outrageous, you know, comedy of misfortunes, put it that way. And I thought the movie was just all right. It's not the greatest. It has some good moments in there. It has some moments where you do laugh. It is having some sweet moments there where you really care about the characters. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be really honest with you. The movie really didn't do much for me the way that I was hoping it was going to. It's just outrageous for outrageous sake, and there's moments of stupidity where it's just there for basic stupidity. There's even a scene in the movie where basically the cops are like, oh, we never thought it was you. We never thought that you guys were the killers at all, and then you're like thinking, well, why didn't they just go to the cops in the first place and try to explain themselves? Why all this crazy ridiculousness? Because if that were to happen, let's be real, we wouldn't have a movie. So they had to go through all this ridiculous craziness. And it's just, I think the problem is, it's just sometimes stupidity for stupidity's sake. You know, ridiculous action scenes where characters are slapping each other around like girls, like grown-ass males are doing that, and ridiculous, like, mistaken identities, and you name it. I mean, they even go through a whole thing where they're pretending to go through this whole thing of this sex cult that's straight out of like Eyes Wide Shut or some shit. I mean, it's just one ridiculous thing after another, and sometimes it's funny, and other times it comes off as flat out just maybe not exactly a bore, but it comes across as just sort of like mundane. We've been there, we've done it. Better movies have already succeeded in this, and you're just aping off of better films. That's pretty much what it is. There's moments here to really like, but there's also moments where you just literally smack your head saying, if only the characters were smarter. Yeah, I know, if they were smarter, this movie wouldn't exist, but that might just be a good thing. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't exactly love the movie either. Some of the chemistry is good, but if you're looking for better romance, action, comedy, hilarity movies, trust me, there's better ones on the market, and Lovebirds is not exactly one of them. Then I'm seeing the Blu-ray digital of Flashback for $14.99. Man, what a mindfuck of a movie this one was, guys. I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I was not prepared for what I was about to watch, put it that way. I wanted to watch it because I do really like Dylan O'Brien a lot of the time, and I really do like Micah Monroe, especially from It Follows. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this thing a chance. I don't know what it's about, but I'm going to go with it. In the blink of an eye, your life can turn upside down, and damn can it, man. Basically, it's about this guy played by Dylan O'Brien, and he has a really solid life. A good wife, and obviously, a good job, and things are going well for him. And he keeps on thinking about this girl from high school, this one that went missing, and he can't quite get her off his mind. And he decides to want to find out what happened to her, to go down the road of figuring out, was there something terrible that happened to her? Was he a part of it? He has to go deep within his memory to try to find that out. And when he does, oh man, he's going to reveal much more than he ever could have possibly imagined, guys. Holy shit, this movie is one wild, trippy ride. I can't say that this movie, every single thing in the film actually made sense. There's a lot of things in this movie where I'm still trying to figure out what in the hell happened. But it is one crazy and wild ride this is. Man, this movie is about so many things. It's about addiction. It's about family trauma. It's about memory. It's about so many different opportunities that we miss out on, and things that we wish we would have done. There's so many different ideas wrapped within this movie, and it's like all put in a blender and mashed up, man. I mean, you're experiencing different timelines, you're experiencing different versions of the characters, different scenarios, you name it. This film goes into one crazy and wild experience that you are not prepared for, man. And that is honestly the truth, man. I mean, there is a lot of great things about this movie. Honestly, there is. I mean, the acting, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. For the story they were trying to tell, it could get confusing really fast, but the actors really keep you maintained within the story and keep you really intrigued, and I appreciate that. I also really appreciated the fact that you never really knew where this movie was going. This movie could head in multiple directions in any moment, and you are literally just in the movie's hands, in the filmmaker's hands, and you're just going along for the ride. let's put it this way, this movie is not predictable. Okay, this movie is crazy unpredictable, but that's one of the things I actually really like about it, because I never saw any of the things coming in this film whatsoever, man. In your mind, there's nowhere to hide, and in your mind, you'll go absolutely crazy trying to figure out what this movie is trying to do and where it's going, and that's for damn sure. Here's the truth of it all, guys, is that there are going to be some people that are going to watch this movie and are literally going to love it, who are going to think that this is absolutely phenomenal and it's got a really great message to say, and they just love the idea of different opportunities in your life and how everything sort of meshes together, and the do's and don'ts and the decisions that we make. People are going to love it. And then there's going to be a certain number of people, a certain subset of the population, that is going to watch Flashback and think that it is the most confusing piece of shit ever. Like, basically, it absolutely makes no sense. It's completely pointless. You know, what's the message behind the movie? Nothing makes a goddamn sense. A lot of people are going to say that about Flashback. I guarantee you. There's pretty much going to be those two reactions and not much else. I'm actually in the camp where I do pretty much like this movie. And here's the thing about it. For me, honestly, guys, it's a movie that I'm still thinking about to this day. It's a movie that I'm still thinking about the different scenarios and certain things that, was it real? What was the actual timeline that was really going on? Was this all in his head? Was he experiencing different simultaneous timelines, you know, all at once? Was it the actual drug that he was taking that was making him trip? What exactly was going on here? But it was intriguing to me, and that's why I think I enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm not gonna lie, this movie is extremely confusing. There are moments where you are literally going to be frustrated at what you're watching, and you're wondering, is there ever actually a point to this? But then again, I gotta admit that I'm one of those movie lovers that is willing to go down the rabbit hole with a certain movie. Whether it's something like, you know, like a Donnie Darko, you know, or something like Memento, you name it. Movies where I think that not everything is wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, and it doesn't exactly have to be either. And I think that's what I appreciate about it, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I don't mind movies that are easily digestible, because, you know, some movies out there are just great popcorn films and they're just easy to watch, and, you know, the good guys win in the end, the bad guys lose, and that's it, right? Then there's other movies that are really far out there and really make you think and don't give you all the answers. And I know some people don't like that, but if you're willing to go down the rabbit hole, if you're willing to really give a movie a shot that you might not get right away, it's going to take you time to figure out, give Flashback a chance. Yes, it is wild, it's crazy, it's all over the place. There's moments where you are literally going to scratch your head saying, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but sure, let's just do this. And you're just waiting for it to be figured out. But if you're willing to open your mind, if you're willing to actually experience something that's a little trippy, Flashback is definitely one of those movies that does that in spades. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Guys, when did they start to get Mill Creek titles in? Can somebody explain this to me? Because holy crap, man. I was not expecting this week to see Finding Forrester and the 2-pack of Miami Vice and The Kingdom. Both are Mill Creek titles. When the hell did Target start getting in Mill Creek titles, man? Wow. That is insane to me, guys. Holy shit, look at this. Finding Forrester with Sean Connery. You're the man now, dog. Did you seriously think I wasn't going to say that, guys? Come on now. That is what this movie is known for. Oh my god. Oh Lord, I haven't seen Finding Forrester in a long, long time, man. I remember kind of enjoying it. I did. This was towards the end of Sean Connery's career. He wasn't doing many movies at this point. He was really old and only doing really select parts, man. Wow. Finding Forrester, holy shit, man. And also directed by Gus Van Sant. Of course, he did Good Will Hunting and To Die For, Drugstore Cowboy, Milk, which is really great. Of course, he also directed the remake to Psycho, but nobody's perfect. But he's a really, really solid director as well, man. Wow, a great sort of coming of age drama, friendship movies, sort of the unlikeliest of friends. Oh my god, man. I can't believe this. And a sort of interesting Sean Connery flick from Mill Creek here at Target. That's wild, man. God, did they just decide what the hell to bring in Mill Creek titles? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm actually kind of happy considering that, like, we rarely get to see Mill Creek titles in stores. So the fact that Target is doing that, like, please do more. My God, man, can they? That would be awesome. Holy cow, dude. That is pretty damn cool. And they also have the 2-pack of Miami Vice and The Kingdom. Now, I've seen both of these movies. The Kingdom, I'm a little sketchy on The Kingdom. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. Great cast here. I remember being a decent little action movie. But Miami Vice, I definitely remember. Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell. No rules, no law, no order. Very nice, man. I remember when this movie came out, man, directed by Michael Mann. It was supposed to be this very sort of flashy and really gritty sort of action drama to sort of reinvent the Miami Vice brand, so to speak. And it kind of did. It's a decent movie. I don't know if it lived up to all the expectations, but it is pretty solid, man. I mean, Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs. Yes, indeed. Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, baby. Oh my God, man. It was trying to be sort of a gritty, more serious, almost like Bad Boys or something. It was trying to be that, but I mean, come on, you can't really beat Bad Boys, okay? I mean, you can try to ape off it, but you'll never be it. And Miami Vice wasn't exactly that, man. It was decent, not exactly something I'd go out of my way to really watch again, but I enjoyed it for what it was, man. But I got to admit, seeing these titles here, Mill Creek titles at Target, let's just put it this way, that's something you don't see every day. And speaking of surprises, the 35th anniversary Blu-ray digital editions of Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Pretty in Pink. Nice, for $16.59. Oh, look at these, man. And these are the Steelbook editions. Yes, that's really cool that Target has them here, man. I wasn't expecting these here, but a very nice, pleasant surprise indeed, man. Say Ferris. That's a petition I would definitely sign. That's for damn sure, man. My God, how much I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think this movie is the tits, man. I really, honestly do. I think this movie is all kinds of awesome. I love Matthew Broderick in here. I love that big parade musical sequence. I love the cool characters. I love the lines of dialogue. I just think this is such an iconic movie, not just for the 80s, but for Matthew Broderick, for John Hughes. I just think this just oozes just classic 80s all the way, man. it's just so cherry. It is so beyond cherry, man. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off is absolutely amazing, man. This is one of those really great feel-good movies that you could watch over and over and over again and never get tired of it. I know because I've done it, guys. It's absolutely amazing, man. I just love all the quirky characters, and I love sort of the high school setting, and I love how he's just home being sick and faking his sickness and just having a great day of it. I remember watching this and thinking to myself, oh my God, how can I pull off a Ferris? How can I go to high school and not want to go and pull off a Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Of course, I was never quite as good as Ferris Bueller. Let's be honest, none of us really are, but at least we tried, guys. It's so fantastic here. Oh, that's great, the steelbook of that, man. And Pretty in Pink. Oh my God, this is another one of those iconic classic movies, man. I love this movie so much. In fact, I've owned the VHS of this, I've owned the DVD, and I actually own the Paramount Presents edition with the slipcover. I actually own that, man. I love that edition. But if you didn't get that, I mean, come on. The steelbook love for Pretty in Pink, why not, man? This is such a really great movie. I love the romance comedy aspect to this movie. I think Molly Ringwald is absolutely amazing here. She's sympathetic. You really care for her story, that she really likes this guy, but with all the complications, and you know, she's poor and he's rich, and you know, how could a guy like her really like a girl like her in that situation? And I love that. But I mean, there's so much here that I love. I love the quirky characters. Spader is so great at this evil rich brat that I love. Andrew McCarthy is awesome here, and so is John Cryer. Let me tell you something. I am a Ducky fan all the goddamn way. In fact, the only thing that this movie gets wrong, and I'm gonna be real here, is the fact that she doesn't end up with Ducky. She deserved to end up with Ducky. Ducky was the right pick. I'm still going to, these many years later, she deserved to be with Ducky. I dare you to prove me wrong, guys. She absolutely deserved to be with him, man. But she picked Andrew McCarthy. She picked the rich guy. I get it, but Ducky was the better choice. Come on, let's be real, man. But it was so great. I love the music in here. I love just the iconic classic lines and the characters, and just a great John Hughes movie, deserving to be watched by everybody, man. Such a really amazing movie, man. And the steelbook for $16.59, that's pretty goddamn cool. And you want to know what's really getting to me, guys? This is the 35th anniversary of these movies. I am older than Ferris Bueller and Pretty in Pink, and that's pretty damn depressing. And I'm also seeing they have the DVD of the complete first season of Power Book 2 Ghost for $24.99. I like the cover with sort of the pulpy red and the black there from Stars. It's interesting. Power Book 2 Ghost picks up after the events of Power as Tariq St. Patrick grapples with his father's death, while his mother tries to murder son committed. A defense lawyer, it's a drug game. The same fate his father met to become him, only better. Okay, interesting. I've never seen Power. Lord knows I've seen it on certain out and abouts. I've seen sort of the big complete series box set of it. I don't have Stars. I haven't had Stars in years. Like, you know, back in like the Spartacus days, I haven't had, you know, Stars in a long time, man. And I don't really feel like subscribing to these sort of big cable platforms because I don't really feel the need to watch them. Like when Ash vs. Evil Dead came out on Stars, I was really considering wanting to get Stars just for that. But I'm like thinking, God, I'm only going to be watching it for that, and the rest of the week I'm not going to be watching Stars at all. So I'm paying a premium just for watching Ash vs. Evil Dead. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So I don't really get into these sort of cable platforms like Stars and everything. So shows like Power and Power Book 2 Ghost kind of pass me by, to be honest with you. It looks like sort of this interesting crime thriller drama survival tale. Kind of looks interesting, but I'm probably gonna pass unless you guys tell me that Power is good and Power Book 2 Ghost is. I think this is one of those series that's gonna continue to pass me by. I just have a feeling on that one, guys, but definitely let me know. But wow, look at this, man. Truth be told, I knew we would get some of the new releases, but who would have ever expected Mill Creek Love? And come on, I have to say it again. You're the man now, dog. I really seriously can't resist. I was not expecting Mill Creek Love, and I definitely was not expecting 35th anniversary John Hughes Steelbook Love here at Target either. I definitely was not. But those are pleasant surprises that sometimes you get here at Target, and I think they definitely delivered this week. Not half bad. Let's head out. Now, who would have ever thought, guys, that we were going to get this many releases at Target this week? I mean, I thought one, maybe two, but definitely not all the things that we saw. I mean, the Steelbook Love, Mill Creek now. Apparently, Target is carrying Mill Creek. That's now a thing here, guys. I'm okay with it. I'm cool with it. I mean, did you guys really think that they were going to carry Mill Creek? I definitely didn't, but hey, I'll take it, man. I mean, especially with all the new releases that they carried as well. Target had a really good week here. And speaking of also carrying some other stuff, they actually have the Blu-ray digital of Raiders of the Lost Ark. 40 years of Raiders. And actually, I can officially say, guys, that I am not as old as Raiders of the Lost Ark. That actually makes me just a little bit more happy. Just saying, guys. They have that, but they also, because I showed you guys some of the Steelbook Love over here, they had sold a lot of the Steelbooks. A lot of them are already gone. However, they still have one of those Steelbooks, and I think you can guess which one. They have Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. You guys know why it's still here, right? It's still here because it's kind of taunting me. It's taunting me. It wants me to buy it. It knows I'm such a huge Psycho lover that it's just here, basically being in my face every single week until I buy it. One of these days, I'm gonna pull the trigger, I swear. My Psycho love knows no bounds. And it knows it. It's taunting me, guys. The one Steelbook that's still here is the one I want. Of course it is, guys. Of course. But I gotta admit, I'll still hold off a little bit longer. But if it's still there, maybe in a week or two, it might just have to be mine. That's for damn sure, guys. But some really, really great stuff this week. The new release love, Steelbook Love, Mill Creek, Finding Forrester, You're the Man Now, Dog Love. Yes, a lot of really, really great stuff this week. And crazy enough here at Target, where it doesn't always deliver, but when it does, it definitely does. And this week, well, it definitely did deliver. That's for damn sure. Not so bad. Talk about a lot of stuff to show off. How about we head to the next location and hopefully more physical media love to come. Now, hold up a second, guys. Before we go to the next location for more physical media love, there is a stop along the way. Some of you guys have told me that you sent me some packages and they should hopefully be here. So I know I just went last week, but might as well check it out again this week just in case some of those packages did indeed arrive. And you know where we are, guys. Yes, indeed, we are at the post office, the wonderful, wonderful post office, and hopefully some physical media love from some of you guys. I always love that you guys send me stuff, man. I'm always like a kid at Christmas, or I should say a kid at Hanukkah, and I always love what you guys get me. I'm always surprised by it, so hopefully some more surprises along the way. Let's go in and hopefully find some more physical media love from you guys. The P.O. box is opened, and did I actually get any packages from you guys? Well, yeah, I kind of did, actually. A couple of packages in the P.O. box. Was not expecting it, but very, very happy to have it. So how about we go to the car and let's open up some subscriber mail goodness. All right, back in the car now with the couple of packages. I am actually very surprised. I was here last week. I didn't think I was going to get more, but you guys did tell me that you were sending me some, so why not go and check out the P.O. Box again? Why not? So let's start with this package, shall we? From Grindhouse Video. Okay, let's open up using my car keys there, guys. Oh, let's open this sucker up. I wonder what comes from Grindhouse. I do like Grindhouse. Grindhouse is actually pretty solid of a company. Oh, okay. I do know what this is. Very nice. Look at that. Oh, and look at that. Very, very nice. I got another copy of Mikey. Now, actually, Tommy sent me another copy of Mikey. He felt really bad about the slipcover situation. And he said to me, hey, I'll pay for another one. And I said, hey, man, I will send you the damaged Mikey so that you could get your money back from Amazon. And he's like, no, keep it, give it to John or whoever. So that's what I'll probably do. But okay, now I got the cool slipcover in perfect condition, by the way. So like I said, and I'll say it again, I said it last week, but it really bears repeating. If you want any collector's edition release that has a slipcover to it, you really need to get it from Orbit DVD, Grindhouse Video, Diabolic DVD, and a lot of other labels out there, the boutique ones, because Amazon, and it really is true, they just don't give a damn. And I hate to say it, I mean, sometimes you'll get lucky, and I have several times where I got something, and I was so shocked that it actually came in really great condition, but 99% of the times that I've gotten stuff from Amazon, it's came damaged. And so I wasn't surprised by it. I was just a little upset because it came from one of you guys. And I know that you guys send me stuff and you want it in great condition, but it just happens, man. So nice. I have it in a perfect now slip with the actual great movie, and I just love this, man. Remember, Jason and Freddy were kids too, so I am looking forward to diving into Mikey. I love MVD, so Tommy, thank you for sending me this. If you really want, I will send you the damaged copy back so you can get your money back. Yeah, I'm just willing to dive into MVD. I've heard about this title, but I never really thought about giving it a chance until you guys ended up saying something to me. So now I'm definitely going to dive into it. So thank you for the replacement. I really do appreciate it, that Tommy. So some nice, perfect condition slipcover love through Grindhouse Video. And let's see what I got through Amazon Prime, man. Oh, let's see. Let's dive into Amazon Prime goodness here. Oh, nice. Nice. Very cool. Oh, and it came with actually a note as well. Awesome. Hi, Film Fan 108. Here is a little horror goodness for the collection. Don't worry, I have it coming for my collection. Keep up the great content and enjoy your gift, from Jeffrey McCormick, which I'm pretty sure that is Ryan. Ryan, thank you very, very much. You did say that you were going to send me something. I didn't know whether it was this package or not, but now that pretty much confirms it. So what did I get from Ryan? Oh, man. I got the Blu-ray DVD horror double feature pack of Hostel and Hostel Part 2. Oh, baby. Oh, Lord, man. I do not have either of these in the collection. Nice little double feature to add, that's for sure. Let me say something about these two movies, okay? Let me say something. I I love Hostel. I'm a huge fan of Hostel. I think it's actually pretty clever. I love the stories and the characters and the misdirection, and I love the horror and the torture of it. And I thought it's a pretty solid movie. And I remember when this movie came out, everyone's like, torture porn. This is torture porn. It's glorifying, this brutality. And nowadays you look back at Hostel and you're like, my God, this is like child's play considering what the fuck is on The Walking Dead now. I mean, come on, man. But I mean, seriously, I really do love that movie. I think it's brilliant. I do. I love Eli Roth directing this. I think he did an awesome job here. I really did, man. Now, it's kind of interesting because the reason why he came up with this concept, I think him and one of the guys from Ain't It Cool News had been searching about this very topic. And from what I gathered, from what Eli Roth has said, that there is actually, this is a real thing. Like, there's actually things overseas where they literally kidnap people and you can pay to kill them. I don't know if he was kidding. I don't know whether this is a real thing. But like this is one of the reasons why I don't have a passport. This is one of the reasons why I don't go overseas, guys. My girlfriend is always saying, hey, maybe in the future we'll go, to Paris, or, we'll go to England or something. I'm like, have you seen Hostel? No, that won't happen. No. I will easily get caught and be killed by some psycho. No, that's so not happening. Fuck that, man. So no, it's not. Oh man, God, I hope that's not real. But I have a strong feeling it is, man. Jesus. Now, as far as Hostel Part 2 goes, and I gotta rewatch it to be fair, but I've watched it a couple times, and I gotta admit, I do not like Hostel Part 2. I absolutely really hate Hostel Part 2. Everything that I loved about the first Hostel, I really hate about the second Hostel. I think the characters are absolutely annoying. I don't think they're likable at all. I don't think the horror is nearly as good or as effective. I just think that it comes off as bland, and I just am more rooting for the bad guys than I'm actually rooting for these characters to try to get out of their situation. I really did not like Hostel Part 2, man. I think Hostel Part 2 is dog shit. Like, I know you guys are literally gonna kill me. You're like, wait a minute, Hostel Part 2 is awesome. And I'm like, oh, I don't, man. I really think this Hostel Part 2 is really terrible. I do, man. I know. I just, to me, I like the idea of the women trying to survive and, the girl power stuff. I like that, but I think it's been done better in other movies. I think even a movie that came out not too long ago, a movie Spare Parts, did it miles above something like Hostel Part 2. I think you can do horror well with females. We've seen it done before in other movies, obviously. But I just don't think Hostel Part 2 really did it well. I just thought the characters really were just annoying and stupid, and man, I just kind of felt like they deserved what they got, man. I know that's terrible to say, but it really is true, man. Hostel's great. Hostel Part 2 is pretty terrible, but you sent it to me, Ryan. You sent the double feature, so I'm going to reluctantly put it in the collection. Oh, man. Now, that being said, actually, I actually really do enjoy Hostel Part 3. I actually think Hostel Part 3 is actually really great. So I like 1, I like 3, but I hate 2. 3 is very underrated. Not many people really ever, I don't think, really watched Hostel Part 3 or really cared about it, but I thought it was actually a great bounce back from Hostel Part 2. Of course, I believe that's only been released on DVD, if I'm not mistaken, and not on Blu-ray, but it's still a really great Hostel film. I love Hostel, but you had to get me Hostel Part 2. Oh, no. Oh, fine, I'll deal with it. I love you, brother. Thank you for sending this my way. I'll cherish it. Even though I may never watch Hostel Part 2. I will cherish it. That's for damn sure, guys. Thank you guys for sending me some more physical media love. And if you want to send for some physical media love to the channel, you can. The actual P.O. box address will be down below in the description. And, you know, it's not expected, but it's a nice, pleasant surprise. You guys have asked me about this a time or two. Hey, we want to do something for you. Where can we send it? And I finally pulled the trigger and did it for you guys, so why not? You know, look, I mean, if you guys want to send any care packages, movie-related goodness, you know, posters, physical media, whatever, you're more than welcome to send it. I always show off anything that you guys get me, whether it's in this video or in a separate video. I always do. So thank you, appreciate the love, and if you guys want to send anything again, it is in the description below. But with some physical media love from the post office out of the way, now it's time to head to the next location, and hopefully more physical media love to come. All right, everybody, we are at our third location, the second Walmart. I'm going to go in and see if there's any interesting indie titles worth checking out. If there is, I will bring it back to Film Fan 108 HQ and show it off to each and every one of you. But before I do that, I want to talk about a trailer with you guys, and that is none other than Escape Room 2 Tournament of Champions. Yes, indeed, baby. Now, I remember when the first Escape Room came out, and I really was not expecting anything out of the first Escape Room. I was like, okay, it feels like a Saw ripoff and like some sort of torture porn movie. Fine, whatever, it's coming out. And it actually ended up being clever. I liked some of the characters, I liked the traps and the scenarios, and I liked this sort of even more vast worldwide conspiracy thing that's going on with the escape room stuff. And I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. This is way cooler than it has any right to be, and it actually works. And I was so shocked and so surprised by that. And I said to myself, I was like, okay, they kind of set up for a sequel. And I was like, okay, we're going here for a sequel. I'm kind of cool with it. I'm interested to see where it all goes. But I wasn't expecting Tournament of Champions. Put it that way, guys. You know, when I think of Tournament of Champions, I almost think of, like, you know, the 5th or 6th or 7th movie in the franchise where, you know, you've had all these survivors and now they come together for, like, this big penultimate movie. No, they're going right to that way for the sequel, man. Fine, fair enough. I kind of thought they could have held that one back, but they're going Tournament of Champions for the second round, man. But I like where the trailer is going. I like the idea that all of these people who are previous survivors, they're now going through the game again, and why? What's the purpose of it? Why have these people who survived once go through it a second time? Well, apparently you gotta watch the movie to find out. But I like that. I like the idea behind that. I like the idea that these people don't like the fact that they were survivors, that maybe they're trying to take them all out before they go after them. Possibly. It's, you know, a nice little conspiracy yarn, I guess, with this escape room stuff. So, you know, why not go down the rabbit hole with it? But I like the fact that they're figuring out the puzzle pieces, and that the traps and the equations get more elaborate, and as they get more elaborate, obviously you have to literally try your damnedest to try to figure this stuff out before it's too late and it traps you. I like that idea. That was one of the things I've always loved about the Saw franchise, was the idea of the traps. The idea that, yes, you can get out of them, but in order to do it, you're going to have to sacrifice something that you may or may not be willing to do. And I like that idea with Escape Room. The idea that, look, you're going to have to solve this. You're really going to have to bend your mind and really think about this. Because if you don't, then you're going to be trapped there and you're going to be killed. And I like the cleverness of that, and I like the idea of kill or be killed, survive or die. Obviously, the idea of, you know, survival of the fittest, and the idea behind that, and I like that these traps are sort of the next evolution of that. I really do enjoy that, man. I think it's interesting. I mean, yes, you're gonna have characters that are dumb. Yes, you're gonna have characters that are assholes. I'm hoping that this film is a little more clever than that. I hope the film doesn't just dive into like horror cliches. It could, truth be told, the trailer does have certain characters where you're like, oh, this dude is definitely gonna die. And of course, this is the asshole guy. I'm hoping that's not the case. I've seen so many horror movies, I've seen so many scenarios. I like my horror movies to be somewhat clever a little bit. Just a little bit clever. And I'm hoping that Escape Room 2 ends up being just as clever as Escape Room 1. And by the way, I wasn't expecting much from Escape Room, the first film. So for me, I sort of go into this one having a little bit higher hopes, but also don't want to get them up too high because, let's be real, sometimes horror sequels don't always pan out the way you want them to, and they don't always exactly surpass your expectations. So I'm being hopefully optimistic, but holding back until I see where this goes, guys. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Definitely let me know. In the meantime, let's head to the second Walmart location in here, and hopefully some good physical media to check out. In at the glorious second Walmart, guys, and truth be told, it's a decent physical media release week. It's not the most plentiful of weeks, to be fair, but it's not the worst. So I came in here thinking to myself, wait a minute, what exactly are we going to see here at the second Walmart? Are we really going to see anything indie-wise worth really diving into? And actually, we do. Not a crazy amount, not extremely plentiful like some of the other times, like maybe like 3 or 4 titles, but to be fair, 3 or 4 is better than a big fat 0. So I'll definitely take it. Put it that way, guys. So, I mean, now you do know what that means, right? I mean, we have to go back to FilmFan 108 HQ, which means you, Seth, have to show off the physical media. It's your job. Get it done. Do I have to? If you don't, I swear I am going to get rid of all of your physical media. You're gonna wake up and it's gonna be gone. Do you want that? No, come on. He's kidding. Why would anyone get rid of my precious movies? Why? Why would they ever do that? That is a man that is clearly insane. That is for damn sure, guys. I'm sure he was kidding. Let's hope that he was kidding, guys. Let's hope indeed. But yes, more Walmart indie goodness, baby. Now, honestly, it is a decent-sized release week. Hell, Target pretty much proved that, guys. And you know, at the same time, there is certain stores I obviously don't have much selection. This is the battle that we deal with every single week, ladies and gentlemen, is the idea of having stock in to show off for people to actually buy it. You know, it's kind of interesting because when I was at Target, and before I was actually going to leave Target, there was this young couple, with some kids. And the wife was like, hey, let's go look at the movies. Let's buy a movie. I haven't bought a movie in a long time. And the husband is like, well, they have apps for that. And why buy a movie? And so it's people like that guy that is the goddamn problem, man. And the wife literally got pissed and was just stormed off, and I'm like, I'm sorry that your husband's a jackass, but I mean, oh Lord, you know, look, we have gotten so used to the mindset of digital this, digital that. It's on an app here, it's on an app there. We've gotten used to it, guys, and truth be told, some of it is maybe our own fault, and we've just given complete control to the digital overlords. Probably, it's most likely the truth, guys. But, I think it's also in some ways maybe a little bit of the store's fault as well. I mean, after a while, when you don't find certain titles in these stores and you can't find them anywhere else, where are you really going to go? I mean, for us as movie collectors and movie lovers, we know that there's a whole lot of other options out there. But for the people that don't know any better, they head over to digital, and that's just what they do. And so the stores still have a mighty influence, still to this day. And to sometimes see great weeks that something like Target has, which is awesome, and then seeing that first Walmart, which doesn't have much, it is somewhat frustrating at times because you realize that people will just go elsewhere and they'll go to digital, and that's what they'll do. Ah, it's the ultra conundrum, isn't it, guys? But hey, I'm gonna always sound the alarm on physical. I'm always gonna do it. Any cool releases worth showing off and checking out, I will do it. I'm always a champion for physical media. Not everybody can be, especially that jerk off husband. But I will always be. That's for damn sure, guys. And little bit always goes a long way, and not crazy plentiful, but when it comes to second Walmart, I'm always interested to see what indie goodness they have to offer. Walmart indie goodness is back, baby. Not a lot of indie Walmart love, but a little does go a long way. Well, at least that's what they say. So let's dive in, shall we? With the first title being none other than Potter's Ground. Oh, look at that. I love that with all the dead skulls there and they're looking at them and the crows are around ready to pick their bones clean. Some secrets are best kept buried. It is true. Especially when you got enough skeletons in your closet. Best to keep them buried, guys. Indeed it is. What is this about? Potter's Ground tells the story of a team of Confederate marauders during the final days of the Civil War who embark on a dangerous mission to unearth an ancient treasure. But fortune may come at a terrible price as the men soon learn that some secrets are best kept buried. Indeed, as some secrets are definitely best kept secret and buried. And these guys are going to find out that they definitely need to stay buried for sure, guys. Now, it's kind of interesting because you know what this movie reminds me of, actually? There's a movie in 2008 called The Burrowers. Not The Borrowers, The Burrowers. With my man Clancy Brown. And I gotta admit, I really do love that movie. I found it on a whim one time when I was at a rental store or something and I found it and it looked kind of interesting to me, so I just rented it, and man, was that a great little Western surprise. It's basically about this family from a settlement that goes missing, and these basically cowboys end up trying to go after them and basically think that they've been taken by Indians. And basically, they're on the hunt for these Indians that could be the perpetrators of the family gone missing, but it's actually much more than that. And it takes some interesting, like, horror, sci-fi elements and puts them into this classic Western setting, which I really did enjoy, man. I thought it was very interesting and very intriguing. And this kind of has that same feel to it. The idea that you have this sort of interesting old school Western that may have a little bit more horror and sci-fi elements that it makes it a little bit more unique outside of that. I'm not a big fan of Westerns. Not that I'm a terrible fan of Westerns. I like old school stuff. High Noon and some of those old school ones with Clint Eastwood, John Wayne. There has been some newer ones that I've liked, like the remake to 310 to Yuma, which I think is fantastic. There's another movie, The Kid, I think with Ethan Hawke, which is a pretty good one as well. I like Westerns at times, but I need something a little bit more to kind of spice it up at times for me. And that's why I think a movie like The Burrowers kind of worked really well, because it took the old school classic Western idea and spun it into a little interesting horror creature yarn, which was kind of unique and hadn't really seen that in something in a while, man. There has been some unique westerns out there from time to time. Is Potter's Ground one of those? It could be. I like the cover, it looks interesting, and the synopsis definitely does too. I'm not a western fan all in all, but when they spice it up and sort of mix genres together, I'm on board. Well, this definitely piques the Jew inside of me, guys. Bubbies know best. Oh, they definitely do. If you're a kid, a Jewish boy or girl, so to speak, you know that bubbies definitely know best. Indeed, they do, man. Ah, the complete first season, 12 episodes, the perfect matchmakers. Oh, bubbies are actually some of the best. Dare I say, man. Oh, boy. Tired of internet dating and loveless romance? Dreaming of a fairy tale wedding? Leave it to everyone's favorite Jewish grandmas. Our beloved bubbies will screen, grill, and handpick the perfect candidates for eligible bachelors and bachelorettes on Bubbies. No best. 12 fun-packed episodes of roller coaster laughs, tears, and the emotional ride of a lifetime. Oh, Spectacular Simons, Adorable Daniel, Lesbian Maid Catherine, Senior Something Marty, Southern Belle Wren, Dashin' David, Marvelous Max, Sir Foxy Event, Latin Lover Freddy, Gay Jewish Mate Jeff, Captivating Kel, and the Bubbies meet Zach Galifianakis. Yes, that's the final episode. They have to match Zach Galifianakis. Man, the Bubbies are up for a big task. Oh, man. Good God. Oh, Lord, man. You know what this kind of reminds me of, truth be told, guys, is there's actually a movie from 1988 called Crossing Delancey. Have you guys ever seen that movie? I have because my mother taped it on VHS, and it's a really great movie about this girl and her bubby who ends up helping her get matched with this guy in New York City, and it's sort of like, Jewish grandmothers finding love for their daughters and kind of stuff like that. It's actually a really fun movie. It's really fun. Has Amy Irving in it, and actually fun little fact for you guys out there. The lady who played Aunt May in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, she actually is in Crossing Delancey. So it's kind of weird. When I saw her in Spider-Man all those years later, I was like, oh, she was in Crossing Delancey. And everyone's like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, God, you guys don't know Crossing Delancey. It's like a great, great romance movie. If you like romance films, like romantic comedies, Crossing Delancey is actually pretty sweet, has a lot of charm to it. I really like it. It's kind of gotten forgotten by time, but if you're a Jewish mother or a Jewish person in general, it's definitely, I would say, definitely required viewing, man. I mean, my mother loved it, but then again, she's a Jewish mom, Jewish films, yeah, Jewish romance movies and Barbara Streisand. That's pretty much what I got. So, oh man, it's very interesting. I never really called my grandmother Bubby, but it's interesting because my mother, when she talks about, her grandmother, she always really refers to her as Bubby. She doesn't refer to her as her grandmother. She always referred to her as Bubby. And I'd like to, if I ever have kids, I would like my kids to call my mother Bubby. That would kind of be cool, I think, if I ever actually have kids. I don't really know if I want little mini-me's running around right now, but sure, little Film Fan 108s in the future, sure. I'll just call them Film Fan 109 and Film Fan 110, and we'll just continue the trend, guys. But oh man, this kind of intrigues me as a Jewish guy, as somebody who's been steeped in a lot of Jewish stuff over my time on this earth. I have to admit that this probably piques my fancy. I'm somebody that grew up with a lot of old school Jewish people around me. The traditions and the sayings and yes, even the cliches, they were all there. And this one would kind of be a fun thing for me. But truth be told, I will be honest with you, I'm not a fan of reality TV. That's the one sticking point here. I've never been a fan of reality anything. I remember when Survivor came out years and years ago, and it was just coming out, and people were going apeshit for it, and I was always like, why? Why are we going apeshit over Survivor? It's just people in the jungle that are sort of semi naked and trying to sort of survive. Like, okay, but it started a whole trend, a whole big thing that still go on to this day. I'm not a fan of it, but there's certain ones that I could possibly get into. And if it's Jewish grandmothers trying to be matchmakers, you know what? Not a fan of reality, but when it comes to bubbies, sign me up. Then I'm seeing we've got the Unhealer. With great power comes great pain. Wait a second, isn't that supposed to be responsibility? I'm now suddenly extremely disappointed. Oh, I was hoping for great power comes great responsibility, not great pain. However, with the Unhealer, you're not dealing with responsibility anymore. You're dealing with pain. Great pain. Yeah. With Natasha Henstridge, Lance Henriksen, and Adam Beach. I like the cover, actually. Very nice. The red, the blue, the intense stare down. Can you feel the intensity? I bet you can. Let's dive into this one, shall we? A bully teenager gains the means to fight back when a botched faith healing bestows supernatural shamanistic powers upon him. When his lifelong tormentors pull a prank that causes the death of someone he loves, the teen uses his newfound abilities for revenge and goes on a bloody rampage to settle the score. Okay. Nice. They say it definitely feels like Stephen King. Huh. Interesting. You want to know what, man? You know what this kind of reminds me of? It has maybe shades of Firestarter, maybe something like that. Maybe a movie like Powder, way back in the day. Something to that degree. It definitely has a feeling, just from the synopsis, of definitely Stephen King. It just kind of depends. I know this is from Scream Factory. Yeah, so this could be interesting. I like the idea of sort of, bullies tormenting this kid. This kid sees an opportunity to basically right the wrongs and take out the bullies. But again, who's really right? Who's really wrong? Where does the line draw between, obviously, doing what's right and then versus becoming the villain in a lot of ways. And I like that sort of that line. It's a very thin line sometimes between good and bad, and how you cross that line really depends on morals and how you see the world, and it's kind of interesting to me. And the Unhealer sort of has that ideas behind it. Interesting sort of movie that sort of definitely takes influence from something like Stephen King. And it's nice to see Natasha Henstridge and Lance Henriksen doing some cool stuff. Depends though. I love Lance Henriksen. I do love Natasha Henstridge at times. However, let's be real, they're not doing major roles in movies anymore. They're doing more like cameo stuff, if anything else. I don't see Lance Henriksen having a big role in this movie, but then again, I could be wrong. I've seen a lot of movies in the past, guys, where it has Lance Henriksen or it has a lot of these other actors on the main cover and their name right on the top. And then I watch the movie and then, oh, he only has 5 minutes in the goddamn film. And I'm like, wait a minute, why did they put his name at the top? Well, because he's a name that's going to draw in you guys. And it's going to draw in you guys and you're going to be like, oh, Lance Henriksen. I cannot wait to see Lance in a new movie. He's probably the bomb in it. And then you're like, oh, he's the bomb for 5 minutes. And yeah, okay, cool. I've seen too many of these type of movies. I hope Lance has a big part, but I'm not betting on it, guys. But it actually has some cool vibes to it. And if you're into some Stephen King love, The Unhealer might be something worth diving into. But if you're expecting responsibility, you came to the wrong place. No, expect great pain. And last, but definitely not least, Undercover Punch and Gun. Yeah, look at that, baby. Ooh, let's get ready to fight, baby. Yes, indeed. With Philip Najid, Van Ness-Wu, and Andy On. Now, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, where have I seen Philip Nig before? And he was in Birth of the Dragon. He played Bruce Lee. And I was thinking, yes, I totally forgot about that, man. He did. He was one of the actors, many actors who have played Bruce Lee over the years. So I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, okay? And look, I wanted to give it a chance, right? Because I'm like, okay, Japanese, Chinese martial arts type of, action movie. Why not, man? We've seen them a time or two. Why not? And so I figured I'll give it a chance. And this movie, man, good Lord. Jesus Christ. It's basically about this guy that works for this sort of, crime boss dude, and they get double crossed by somebody else, and he has to figure out who double crossed them, and he's working for this other person that basically is going after bigger bad guys and basically needs this dude to finish the job. And it's just one crazy, wild, ridiculous, over the top action movie. And it's just, man, this movie is just one crazy, just one wild scene after another, man. It's like, basically this movie is if like somebody had like ADD, like just attention deficit disorder or something, and they were making this movie, because it just goes from one thing. It doesn't pay attention to one thing over the next. It's just one crazy, just mess of a movie, man, because it's like one action sequence, and then the action sequence goes to talking to somebody else, and then talking to somebody else goes to the action movie, and then the action movie scene goes to some sort of little comedy shtick, and the comedy shtick goes back to action, and the action stuff goes back to drama, and the drama stuff goes back to the love story, and the love story goes back to the action, and the action goes back to a comedy scene, and it's like, bro, it goes so over the top and so all over the place, man. My God, it's like they cannot stay focused on one thing at a goddamn time. And I was like, my God, man, can we just stay focused on one thing and stick with it for like more than a fucking minute? It's like, nah, bro, we're all over the place, man. It is just one crazy, ridiculous movie, man. And it sometimes just is just one big melting pot of different type of genres coming together. There's action sequences, and the action sequences then have some sort of weird, goofy comedy in them for no apparent reason other than why the hell not. And like then there's this dramatic love story, but then like you gotta add in a little goofy comedy mix in there because why the hell not? And it's like the action scenes, like, it's just crazy edited. It's like you get a weird edit almost like every like minute or every 5 seconds, it seems like. It's just one odd movie, man. It really is. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you guys. A lot of these foreign action movies, man, they they are really just trying to be so crazy and so wild and so over the top. They're trying to outdo everything here in the States, man. They really try to. And sometimes sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you just need to have just a competent story with a little bit of cool action and maybe a little bit of drama mixed in. That's it. You really don't need like everything in the kitchen sink just literally thrown in your fucking face, man. And Punching Gun really does that, dude. My God, man, it is. I just wasn't prepared for this movie, man. I mean, I was literally watching, and suddenly I'm like, every 5 seconds there's a different edit. Oh my God, there's a weird comedy scene. Oh my God, there's an action scene. Oh my God, the action scene goes back to drama, and the drama scene goes back to action. Wait a minute, that guy's related to this dude, and he likes her, and she's the assassin. And what the fuck's going on? I was like, wow, they're trying to keep up with this movie. Man, I'm telling you, somebody with, ADD or they're on some crazy uppers and downers. My God, man, this movie is one hell of a trip. Yo, I can't say that this movie is, makes a whole lot of sense half the time. And sometimes you're literally scratching your head like, what the fuck did I just watch? But it's an adventure of a movie, that's for damn sure. And hey, if you want a crazy, wild, weird action movie for an hour and a half's worth, well, I got one for you. Can't say it's actually the most competent thing in the world, but hey, it's definitely an experience. That's for damn sure. Whew, definitely an experience. Wow. And some very interesting Walmart goodness, dare I say, guys. Very interesting indeed. Even for a little bit of a stack, Walmart can still pull through. Well, Pilgrim, I'd like to see John Wayne survive a horror western. Are you interested in love? Well, fuck Tinder and fuck Match.com. All you really need is a good bubby. Oh, and when it comes to bullying, revenge is a dish best served with a lot of pain. Oh, and if you're gonna make a wild action movie, go to the Japanese and Chinese, because boy, do they know how to make one weird, wild, and just fucked up movie. It's their specialty. Indeed, it is, guys. Wow. Four, not a lot, but let me tell you, some very interesting stuff this time around at the second Walmart, guys. Indeed, it was. That is by far, man. And as I've said many, many times before, guys, that a lot of these titles, you don't see them at other places. And that's why I think it's really unique to find them at Walmart, because I think it's nice for these titles, and I think any title, to get physical media love, right? We live, as I've said before, in a world of digital. And at sometimes companies or studios could think, why put it out on a physical release, right? Why do that? When we could put it out on the digital platform and they have to pay us for the service. But I still think physical is really great for the people out there that don't maybe have access to the digital platforms, don't want to spend the money, but they still want to find unique and interesting movies. And I think that at least putting them out on DVD is still a great option for a lot of movie lovers out there. I mean, you have no idea how many people still buy DVDs. It's a huge, huge share of the marketplace, guys. Crazy enough, it actually still is. So it pays to put them out on DVD to give movie lovers a chance to want to pick them up, to want to find them. And yes, maybe I might not like them, maybe you might not like them, but somebody out there is going to. And I think it's worth it to still give that physical love to these movies that might not get a chance otherwise. And I really do appreciate, man. Physical media is very, very precious. And if we didn't have that, some of these movies would just drown in digital algorithms and they would just never be found. At least here on physical, there's a chance that they could be found by somebody and get a home in their collection. It is possible, guys. That's why I'm always a fan of physical media regardless, because I truly believe that it's worth it for any movie lover out there. you might not even have known these movies existed, but with physical, there's a possibility that you will find them. And for that reason alone, isn't it worth it, guys? I'd like to think it is. That's for damn sure, guys. And I hope you do too. Hope you enjoyed it with the little bit of second Walmart goodness. But now we head to the next location. Hopefully, a little bit more physical media to give a look to. All right, everybody. We are at our fourth location. And after some time checking out media, don't you just want to hit up a Best Buy? I'm sure you do. And actually, so do I. So how about we do that, guys? With our next location, and that is none other than The Beast. The Beast. Best Buy. Oh, yeah. Some very interesting media to check out this week. Some unexpected surprises for sure. And what will Best Buy have? I don't know. I'm hoping for maybe an exclusive Steelbook Love, maybe, and some, of course, new releases as well, because it is New Release Tuesday, of course. So, how about we go in and see what the Beast has in store for us this week? All right, we are in at Best Buy under the new releases, and the first thing that I gotta say is, my God, man, they still are out of a lot of Raya and the Last Dragon, man. I mean, they only got like a couple copies on Blu-ray, but it's kind of weird because Raya is getting really popular, man. Like, I'm seeing a lot of times where there's not many copies left or it's all sold out, and they're not like restocking, or it's getting really hard to restock the title in. I don't know whether it's just selling really fast, or that's hard to restock, or the Redbox bandits got them. Whoever did, boy, they are still out of a lot of Raya. I'll put it that way, man. They definitely are. However, they did restock on Backdraft, the 4K Blu-ray, man. And I'm actually really happy that they did. I already got my copy, as you guys knew from last week, but if you love the movie and you haven't picked it up yet, the 4K Steelbook is pretty sweet. And for $21.99, that's a damn good deal, man. Not bad on that one. I mean, pretty much most of the same stuff over in this area. Not too much to show off on this side. Now, on the other side, actually, it kind of looks like they restocked a little bit. I mean, they do have that 4K Blu-ray Steelbook of Animal House, so they did actually get more of that in, which is nice. Now, mind you, I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, this Steelbook is going pretty fast. I mean, Target is already out of a lot of their Steelbooks, man. Especially Animal House. That went quick, man. But at least Best Buy restocked, man. And for $22.99, that's actually a really solid deal. Not going to lie. And that is a sweet, sweet Steelbook as well. This is good, but I think this Steelbook's pretty damn sweet. And they do have the Blu-ray of Minari. They finally got that in, man. God knows it took them long enough for $15.99. Pretty good one there. They have that. They did get some more of the 4K limited edition Steelbook Love of the Sting, so they have that. Some of the same stuff here. They restocked on the 4K of Speed, but definitely not the Steelbook. Did have that. They actually do have at least one more of the Steelbook of Chaos walking, which I thought that would not sell, but it's kind of sold just a little bit. One more left. We'll see who gets that one. But they do actually have a little bit of John Hughes celebrating 35th anniversary love with Pretty in Pink. They don't have the other ones, but well, it's kind of required to get in some Molly Ringwald love. It really is, guys. It's a requirement. So they did have that. Not bad, man. Now, I was really thinking about this, and I was thinking about Molly Ringwald. And yes, Molly Ringwald is iconic. She really honestly is. I mean, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. I mean, she's already iconic in a lot of those really great high school movies, deservedly so. But she's done a lot more beyond that, actually. She's a much better actress than just the John Hughes stuff. I mean, she was in The Pickup Artist. She was in that really great sort of teenage having a baby movie that I really like called For Keeps, which is really great. Talk about a movie that absolutely deserves a Blu-ray release. I would love one for that movie, man, for keeps. That's a really, really great one that I thought she was phenomenal in. She also ended up doing a little indie low-budget horror flick in the early 2000s called Cut. And Cut's not terrible, but it's very low budget. It's an okay slasher, nothing great, but it is what it is. It's pretty decent. I know there's like a DVD out there of it somewhere. There's copies of it. She also ended up doing some of those kissing booth movies on Netflix. I think some stuff for Nickelodeon here and there as well. I mean, over the years she hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities, but I really do love Molly Ringwald, man. And I think back in the day with that whole Brat Pack stuff, I think she was unfairly labeled. I think a lot of them were, man. John Cryer and Emilio Estevez, Andrew McCarthy, and a lot of them out there. They just were labeled the Brat Pack because of the whole like media thing and the partying, and it just kind of stuck with them over the years. I think looking back on it now, and I think a lot of movie lovers do, I think they look back on actresses like Molly Ringwald and say, she was better than that whole sort of Brat Pack sort of grouping that she was put into. I think she really was, man. She was a really great it girl for her time, and I think she was a really great, pioneer for strong female characters, especially back in the day. I really miss Molly Ringwald in a lot of really great stuff. I wish Molly Ringwald would make a mega comeback, man. But even if she never does, even if she never really does any more movies, I still remember her and still love Molly Ringwald just as a really great 80s female icon, but just a really great actor in general, man. And movies like Pretty in Pink really show her talent in a really great way, man. Awesome. And not bad special features either. Very nice. I still say Ducky got screwed. I believe that. I still do, guys. Oh, man. So, a few things here, a few things there. Nothing new, though. Let's see what else we can find. And diving into the back of the Best Buy physical media section, well, not a lot to show off. It's bare in certain spots, guys, but there is still a few things worth showing off, to be fair. So let's dive into it, shall we? With the first title being the Blu-ray digital of City of Lies for $14.99. Yes. Oh, some notorious. Yes. Oh, the mystery and death of Notorious B.I.G. and the complications of trying to find who the hell killed one of the most popular rappers of all time. Now, it's kind of interesting because there's been a lot of documentaries that has been made about this. There's been a ton of them that has been made about the death of Notorious B.I.G., the death of Tupac, the conspiracy theories behind it. You can dive into a lot of sort of documentaries and opening up like the case files and the evidence. There's a lot of documentaries that dive crazy into it, man. But there's not many movies that have been made about Notorious B.I.G. There is that one from 2009, Notorious, which was actually pretty decent. It's sort of more of a biopic, sort of the life and death of that man and the complications of his life, the highs and the lows, which was actually pretty good. But this is one of the only ones, as far as movies go, that really dive into his actual death and sort of perhaps who's to blame and diving into all of the evidence and who's connected to who. I hope we get more movies like this, guys. I really do. I don't know if they're going to be as good as City of Lies, but I really do hope that, man. I mean, just to dive into all of the connections with different people who had different motives against the man. And it's just really fascinating of a deep dive to really go there. And I gotta say that the problem with fame, right? The biggest problem with fame overall is that when you're fame, everybody is riding your coattails, right? Everybody wants what you have. And so you go to parties and people are, just cashing in on your fame and your money, and suddenly they do things and they rob people, or they do drug deals and they kill people, and suddenly they're connected to you. People that you don't even know, people that you've never even come across, suddenly they're connected to you. Fame and money is a fickle bitch, and of course it didn't help the fact that some of these people hanged around with some really shady characters, but it just, at the end of the day, if you're not careful, it will ultimately be your undoing. And for some of these gentlemen, it unfortunately was, man. Now, there's also another really great sort of movie miniseries to dive into if you're interested in more evidence and want to dive more into the Biggie Smalls case and Notorious B.I.G. and stuff like that, is basically diving into a miniseries on Netflix called Unsolved. It's a 10-part miniseries, about 45 to 50 minutes each. It's got some really great solid actors in it, some really well-known ones. And it dives into even more evidence, even more of the power players, and some of the more intricate details that maybe City of Lies doesn't go into. But that does do it, man. And it's a really, really well thought out miniseries, man. Amazing. Definitely dive into that. It would be a great, interesting sort of dive from City of Lies to Unsolved, and you're pretty much like a detective on the case, man. It's really fascinating stuff, dude. And the real life players in here, it's just a shame because the guy that Johnny Depp plays, it's so crazy because he was shamed, he was disgraced off of the force, he was known as a kook because of what he believed, and all he was trying to do was solve a mystery and solve a murder of this woman's child. And the idea that he was stonewalled as much as he is, I mean, I don't know if it was the LAPD, I don't fully know, but the evidence is pretty solid, man. I mean, it's hard to refute it, put it that way, man. It really is. But this movie is an absolute must watch, especially if you're into true crime, especially if you love Johnny Depp. This is definitely worth it. And let me say a couple things real quick about Johnny Depp. All right, I love me some Johnny Depp, but let's be real. As far as him, like, he's more of a theatrical guy, and what I mean by that is he loves to dress up in costumes and do crazy wacky characters. That's Johnny Depp's thing. That's what he's known for, guys, and it's been that way for a long time, whether it's Benny and June, Ed Wood, Edward Scissorhands, any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the Alice in Wonderland stuff, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I can go on and on and on. There's not many movies out there where he's actually the straight man. There is a few, but they're not really, well, that's not that they're not interesting. They're not as good as some of his more crazy performances. I mean, The Astronaut's Wife, and some of those other ones that he's done, other Hunter S. Thompson movies. He's done a few other deep dives into regular normal acting, but he's always doing something theatrical and over the top. Even something back in the day like Cry Baby, he always is doing that. It's just in his nature. But this is one of the better, more toned down Johnny Depp performances. It actually really is. And trust me, I'll take this any day over another transvestite pirate performance. I'm just saying, if he dresses up as Jack Sparrow again, man, come on, bro. Come on, bro. We've had enough, man. Fucking go to an AA meeting, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Johnny Depp can be an effective actor. He truly can. I just think that he's known for such crazy wild performances that's all he can really get. I mean, Tim Burton wants him for like Gomez Addams or something, and like the Addams Family thing he's doing, and I'm like, I really don't want to see him do that. I want to see him do more movies like City of Lies, really stretch himself as an actor. I really would. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I've seen so many great Johnny Depp performances, Some are great with the makeup and some are not, but you gotta give him credit. He goes out there as an actor, but you gotta give him credit for movies like City of Lies. He rarely does these type of performances. And honestly, after seeing the performance here, I kind of wish he'd do more. I really would, man. He is so effective here, and it's such an effective movie that you really feel like you want to solve the case. It's so awesome, and I cannot believe this movie got shelved for as long as it did, but honestly, it was incredibly worth the wait, because it is so damn good. It really is, man. Deleted scenes, crafting the characters in City of Lies, audio commentary as well, not bad, man. I really hope at the end of the day there's justice for Tupac and for Notorious B.I.G. because, you know, I think the families deserve it. I think the fans deserve it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think that to just leave their case unsolved doesn't do anybody any justice whatsoever. I really don't, man. So for me, I really hope that it gets solved. And it's movies like this that dive into it that really make you believe that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance of hope at some point. At least I hope, man. But this movie is absolutely awesome. The great acting, the great story. This is a movie that was definitely worth waiting for. And then I'm seeing they have the Blu-ray digital of Flashback for $14.99, baby. Yeah, look at that. Oh, so good to see this, man. Now, it's kind of interesting, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer over-explanation, or do you prefer under-explanation? I'm actually really quite curious about that, man, because if you look at movies like, say, Donnie Darko doesn't explain it all. I mean, truth be told, it really doesn't. It leaves a lot to the imagination and to the mind, and sometimes that can be frustrating, and other times it can be kind of thrilling to come up with your own scenario. If you look at a movie like The Matrix, they explain a certain amount of it, and then they sort of leave a little bit to your imagination. What about a movie like Shutter Island? Did they over-explain Shutter Island? Could they have left some stuff a little bit more ambiguous? Look at something like American Psycho. Let's dive into that one. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that might have happened, could have been real, could have been in his head, could have all been fabricated. Other people could have been covering up for him. You don't know. You even look at something like Memento. You know it's going backwards in time, previous things that he was doing. The storytelling is unique and interesting, but again, like, did it explain enough or not enough? I think it's very fascinating, and I think it's very interesting where the line sort of rides a little bit. And I do mean that, guys, because I'm one of those people that I think it depends on the movie for me, because there's certain movies that I leave and I think, God, I needed a little bit more explanation. I think I needed just a little bit more to sort of make me feel that the experience was worth it. And then there's other movies where I'm like, I'm completely satisfied with the answers and I didn't need anything more. I think it depends on the actual movies itself, guys. I really honestly do. Some are mind benders for the sake of mind benders, and they're never meant to be explained. And then other ones where they need a little bit more to get you through. I'm actually curious what you guys think about this. I really honestly am, man. There's really no right or wrong answer at the end of the day. Truth be told, there really isn't, actually. But it's sort of fascinating as movie lovers, because I remember watching a movie like Mother, right? And I remember watching that in the movie theater, and literally after the movie, I'm with Nick. We're in the parking lot of the mall that we're in, and we're just sitting there like, how the fuck do we talk about this movie? How the fuck do we do, man? Because it's like, the movie makes no fucking sense. They don't explain nothing, and you're like, God damn. And it's just like, what's real, what's not, what's in their heads, what the hell's going on? And sometimes that's part of the fun, but yet that's also part of the frustration at the same time. I'm actually really curious what you guys think about this, because look, I'm not gonna lie, a movie like Flashback, again, as I said before, there's two camps. I mean, there really is two camps for this. On one hand, there is the camp of, hey, this is really great, it's mind-bending, and it's unpredictable, and you never know what's gonna happen. And then there's those other people that are gonna be like, dude, this is way too confusing. This is a clusterfuck. This is an absolute clusterfuck, and I can't understand a damn thing, and I'm confused, and some people get frustrated and flat out angry. I think this movie's going to have those two reactions. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground on this. There's certain movies that have a middle ground. Movies like Flashback and Memento and Donnie Darko and a lot of the other ones, they don't have middle grounds. They have, you either like it or you hate it. But then again, you got to appreciate the fact that the filmmakers are willing to go there. There's a lot of mind-bending movies out there. You know, movies like Primer and a lot of other ones that take you on an adventure, on a ride, and, you know, you're going to have to do some of the legwork. It takes a little bit of bending your mind to figure it out. And some people are willing to go there, and others are, frankly, willing to leave that shit alone, man. I'm willing to take the gamble, but I'm kind of curious on you guys, man. Now you got deleted scenes, director commentary, and theatrical trailer. Not half bad, man. Again, I can't tell you that this movie is going to make all kinds of sense. I can't tell you that you're going to figure it out by the end credits. I can't tell you that, you know, every little thing is going to be explained, but it's a wild, weird, bizarre experience where I wasn't expecting it, put it that way. You know, at first this movie was going to be about this guy trying to find this girl that he once knew in high school, and I thought, oh, it's going to be that little sort of mysterious thriller type of thing, and it went in a completely different direction that I was not expecting, man. But I think that's why I love watching movies as much as I do, and I think that's why the experience of watching movies is as genuine as it is, guys, because it's getting to experience things that you really weren't ready for, and movies that really make you think, and perspectives that you weren't expecting. And I think that's why I really love this movie as much as I did, because you're expecting one thing and the experience gave you something totally unique and different, and I kind of like that, guys. You know, I watch a lot of the same stuff sometimes, and it's kind of all predictable, and you see some things coming, and it's nice to have a movie that changes it up a bit, and Flashback is definitely one of those. I think it's worth diving into, but there's going to be a lot of people that say otherwise, but if you're willing to go down a little bit of a mind bender of a road, Flashback is definitely intriguing. And lastly, I'm seeing they have the DVD digital of Assault on VA33 for $12.99. Yes, the battlefield comes home. They're gonna have to go to war, VA hospital style. Yes, indeed, they definitely will, guys. With Sean Patrick Flanery and Mark Dacascos. Now, I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime. I primarily did, well, first of all, the title sort of got me. I like the title, so I thought, what the hell, man. But also Sean Patrick Flanery as well, because have you been noticing as of late that he's playing more of the relatable everyday man? He actually is. That movie that I like, that sort of Muay Thai boxing movie, Born Like a Champion, he was very relatable and understandable. You felt for the guy. Even a movie like American Fighter, which I showed off last week, he looks relatable, everyday man. And even in this role as well. I mean, he used to play crazy, wild action, over-the-top stuff like Boondock Saints, which is not all that relatable, but still really cool. I mean, he's still doing action stuff like this, but more relatable. You can kind of feel for the guy in a situation, and you kind of like him, which is just slightly different for Sean Patrick Flanery. So I kind of appreciate that, man. So I figure why not? Now, basically what this movie is about is it's about a war veteran played by Sean Patrick Flanery, and he does a lot of stuff at the VA, therapy, and trying to get his life back to somewhat normalcy with his wife and his child. And there is a high-ranking military official in this VA hospital, and there's these terrorists, these mercenaries that come in trying to take the actual high-ranking official, holding people hostage, and Sean Patrick Flanery is the one that has to save the day. Now, this movie, let's be real, this movie is basically Die Hard in a VA hospital. That's what it is, okay? It's got a ton of Die Hard vibes to it. It's also got a ton of Assault on Precinct 13 vibes. I mean, even the title pretty much suggests it's got a lot of those vibes as well. Basically, Sean Patrick Flanery is almost like John McClane, but walking around a VA hospital, basically killing these evil bad guys. That's basically what it is, guys. I mean, it's still decent, and it's still good. It's kind of low budget, though, and it feels it, but it feels like some of the actors are really trying and giving it their all, and you do kind of appreciate that, so there is that to a certain extent. It had potential, and it kind of works at certain moments, but it's not perfect, to say the least. I mean, the problem is the movie is very predictable. I mean, you know that basically he's going to save the day, the bad guys are going to get killed, good guys win, bad guys lose. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But I thought some of it was good, some of it was a little cheesy, some of the acting was a little crappy, and some of it was decent. It's a mixed bag, okay? As far as the action is concerned, it's pretty basic action. It's basically, it's Die Hard light, okay? That's what it is. It's Die Hard light at the end of the day, man. I mean, even the fight between Sean Patrick Flanery and Mark Dacascos, which I was looking forward to, I was a little bit even let down by that, because Mark Dacascos is a really great martial artist, has done a lot of really great action sequences. I mean, hello, John Wick Chapter 3, he can still tussle, okay? The man's still good. And I kind of felt like they had a little bit of a missed opportunity. They kind of wasted Mark Dacascos' potential. Sean Patrick Flanery is pretty decent in the movie, all things considered, but it's not really all that thrilling of a movie. It's kind of an action thriller time waster is really what it is. It's not terrible, but it's just kind of going through the motions. What I will say about the movie, and what I actually kind of appreciate about the film, is that they do put veterans in a very positive light. They do really end up saying how much sacrifice that veterans do, and really give them a great spotlight within the film. Even at the beginning of the movie, they show off the veteran hotline if you're thinking about suicide thoughts and if you're having any issues. So they definitely go out of their way to support veterans and the VA, and this is a movie that definitely is definitely putting that message out there in a big bad way. I kind of just wish the movie was better in general. I mean, it's kind of cool to see a little indie action, Die Hard ripoff with Sean Patrick Flanery. I mean, fine, whatever, but it's just okay. It's not great, but if you're looking for one of those Die Hard ripoffs, you can either really go with a high budget one that The Rock does, or you could go with Sean Patrick Flanery. Either or, it's still a ripoff, babies. So, why not, man? Oh, why not? But it's still decent, has its moments. Not perfect, though, that's for damn sure. But actually not half bad this week, all things considered. A few things worth checking out overall. It was alright. Alright. Let's head out. Well, not every week to the bees can be crazy plentiful. Honestly, it's not always going to be plentiful, guys. Especially when it comes to the bees. Certain weeks, yes. But some weeks, no. Not at all, man. I mean, okay, but when Target beats you, Yeah, you got a problem or two. I mean, hey, Target surprised us, man. Here, there was a couple things that I'm glad we got to see, but overall, though, I don't know. The Beast has its moments where it's really great, and then it has its moments where you're like, oh, yes, I'm reminded that this is Best Buy, and that it used to be great, but it's went down the sinkhole. Yeah. Remember the good old days of Best Buy? Remember them, because you may not get them back. Yes. Pretty much, guys. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I know. I can continue to hope, and I am the ever hopeful optimist at times, so I will continue to hope for better physical media days ahead. But as far as this week is concerned, a few new releases, you know, some stuff that we've seen before, but nothing really like, wow, Best Buy has it. Well, hey, I'll take what I can get. You know, some weeks physical media is amazing, and other weeks, hey, you strike out. I don't think we exactly struck out this week, but it could have been a bit better. But then again, that's physical media for you. It's always the gamble, and sometimes the gamble is worth it, and other times, well, you get Best Buy. It happens, guys, but always better luck next time. That's the ever hopeful optimist with all of us physical media lovers. You know what I mean? A few things worth checking out. Not a crazy amount, but hey, I'll definitely take it. Something is definitely better than nothing, and that's for damn sure. Alright, let's head home and finish the video. Alright, everybody. That'll do it for the Blu-ray and DVD out and about video this week. And this week was sort of like, yeah, it was definitely kind of like a roller coaster, crazy ocean sea. It pretty much was, guys. I mean, some stores had a decent amount, other stores had Zippo Zilch, and other stores had a little bit here, a little bit there, man. I mean, yes, we didn't see everything. We didn't see all of the John Hughes Anniversary Steelbook Love. We didn't see all of them. And on top of that, we didn't see any of the Indiana Jones 4K love either. I think that's a really hot ticket item, and either stores didn't get them this week where I was, or they sold pretty damn quickly, man. So hopefully within the next week or so, maybe we'll find it at the stores. It's possible. Some stores have all the luck, and other stores not so much. That's why you do the out and about. You never know until you go in, and this week is proof positive of that. That's for damn sure, guys. But there is still some decent stuff out there in the marketplace. Hopefully you guys picked up something good. If you did, definitely let me know. As far as I'm concerned, ooh, wow. Quite the interesting stack of stuff that I got this week, guys. So let's start it off actually with what you know, and that is the MVD collection release of Mikey. I want to thank Tommy again for this, rebuying it for me. You didn't have to, brother. Trust me, you did not have to. I would have found a slip somehow, some way, but you were gracious enough to do it, and I really do appreciate it. The slip comes in a minty condition, so I am very happy about that, and I cannot wait to dive into this movie. It's really cool, and the stuff that you've sent me, Tommy, has been absolutely awesome. I mean, last week alone, people were saying some great things about the Perfect Weapon, so you've sent me some great stuff that I know nothing about, man, so keep it coming, brother. I am excited to see what you sent me next, man, but thank you for the cool edition with the slip. Much appreciated, sir. And Ryan, man, sending me the double feature of Hostel and Hostel Part 2. I love you, brother. I love you so much, and thank you for this. I love Hostel. I really don't like Hostel Part 2. Oh, I really don't. I really loathe Hostel Part 2, but you sent it to me. You sent me some physical media love, so it is going in the collection, even though I will never probably watch Hostel Part 2 ever again. I will put it in the collection because you sent it to me, sir. So I really do appreciate it, man. Oh, there are certain black stains in one's collection, and Hostel Part 2 will just be one of them. Okay, I'll deal with it. Thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate it, man. But I do love Hostel, though. Hostel Part 2. Hostel Part 3 is good, though. But 2? No. Not so much. But thank you, man. Now, when I was at the first Walmart, I actually ended up picking up a title at the first Walmart. Wait a minute. If they had nothing at the first Walmart, how the hell did I pick up anything at the first Walmart? Well, I actually kind of did, guys. Because I got the Blu-ray digital of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Yes, I did, man. Now, actually, this is the one that comes with this unique sort of slip cover there. You've seen some of the slip covers. I've shown you guys these a couple weeks back. And I wanted to pick this up because, number one, I don't actually have Terminator 2 in the collection anymore. I used to have it on DVD a long time back, and I got rid of that one. I have the Terminator movies that I want in the collection, except for Terminator 2. So I was like, why not get it? It kind of seems like appropriate to do it, man. With a cool little slipcover of my man Arnold. And on the inside, with the different artwork with the Blu-ray as well. Pretty cool, man. It's nice to have it back in the collection. I do love this movie. Yes, it is one of the best Terminators of all time. Duh. But it is really, really great, man, and I really do love it. And it comes with the unrated special edition and the theatrical cut. And just so you guys know, I've seen both cuts, and I actually prefer the special edition unrated cut. I actually like the extended stuff with Arnold, and I like some of the more explanation of the sci-fi aspects to it. I actually really do like that edition better than the theatrical cut. But yes, I decided why not pick it up. It was there, $6.96. For this, which was a great deal, so I pulled the trigger on that one, man. I also ended up getting the Blu-ray digital of Flashback. Now, I picked up this edition, guys. To be fair, I did because I really do love this movie, man. I think the acting is phenomenal. I think just the different, almost like sci-fi elements within the film, like the different timelines and the whole idea of, you know, potential in your life and missed opportunities and roads you shouldn't have taken and roads you should have, and trauma in your life and how it affects you. I mean, this movie has so many themes and so many messages wrapped around a very sort of sci-fi-ish kind of idea with this drug that literally almost changes your perception of reality and life. It's really fascinating, and I really dug this movie. Yes, I do realize that there are people out there that are literally going to hate this movie, guys. They literally are going to completely shit on this movie, and they're going to say it's just confusing, and it's terrible, and it makes no goddamn sense. And look, at the end of the day, I can't say that they're incredibly wrong, but for me, I got a lot out of this movie, and it really impacted me in a big way. I'm still thinking about this movie to this day, man. So I had to pick up Flashback. I thought it was just well worth it to get it, so decided why not, man. Picked that sucker up. Then the last thing that I picked up at the stores is actually the Blu-ray digital of City of Lies. Yes, I picked this one up, guys, and I had to. I love this movie so much. The performances, I thought the drama, the real-life tale that they executed really fantastically in this movie, I thought was absolutely awesome. Now, for argument's sake, let's say it, right? Let's assume that there are certain people out there that want to bury this movie. Let's say that's the truth. Let's say that it's the truth that they want to bury this film. And I got to admit that if that's the case, guys, I didn't see a lot of copies out there at the stores. I saw maybe a couple of copies at Target and a couple of copies at Best Buy. I didn't see anything at Walmart. I didn't see anything at the second Walmart that I went to. I don't think you're going to see a lot of copies of this movie out there within the stores. I really don't. I'm not saying that the movie's getting buried, but it's definitely not as far as like new releases, and you usually see a lot of copies of new releases out there, for a high profile movie that has Johnny Depp in it, it's certainly not getting a lot of release love. At least not as much as I thought it was going to. And so there is something to be said about, certain people that might not want to see this movie exist. So I had to get a copy because I just have a feeling that this movie isn't really going to be out there in the marketplace for a very long time, and I love the movie that much that I wanted it in the collection. It's just a really great tale, a really great sort of true crime tale that I really appreciated, man. And I thought it was a phenomenal movie with phenomenal performances, and I just had to pick it up, man. I love this movie that much. It really is a great gem that I'm so glad that I finally got to check out, and now it's going in the collection. A movie that, still to this day, one of those great unanswered questions. Who shot Biggie? We may never truly know, guys, but it's movies like City of Lies that try to uncover the truth and does it very, very brilliantly. And then all the physical media love I got in the mail, guys. Ooh, let's dive into some of these goodies. Now, recently, Kino Lorber ended up having a little bit of a sale going on, and I was looking at some of the titles. A lot of them really didn't interest me, but a couple of them actually did, and so I decided, pull the trigger on a couple of titles. Why not, man? The first being the Blu-ray of Play It to the Bone, with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas, Lolita Davidovich, Tom Sizemore, Lucy Liu, Robert Wagner. Very nice, man. I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. And I ended up looking at the trailer just to see, oh my god, do I remember really liking this? And it brought back so much great memories. It's a really good great boxing comedy in a lot of ways. I really enjoy it, man. It's quirky. It's got some good comedy, some great jokes, some good performances, and the boxing ain't half bad either, man. Some good actors in this. Antonio Banderas versus Woody Harrelson. Who wins? Well, you gotta find the movie and watch it, man. But it is a really, really good one, man. And I got this for like $5, so honestly, why the hell not, man? I'll definitely take this one. Very nice. I also ended up getting the Blu-ray of Boys. Ah, yes. Another one for like $5 that I got, which is a really, really great, man. Winona Ryder, Lucas Haas, John C. Reilly, James LaGrosse, Skeet Ulrich. And it's interesting because this movie, I believe, came out in 1996, and if I'm not mistaken, this movie came out before Scream, and so Skeet Ulrich is in this little indie, sort of dramedy type of movie, in a small role, basically working himself up in his sort of acting career. And then Scream comes out, and everything changes in an absolute instant. And so it's kind of weird that 1996, this film came out, and then Scream, two very interesting and totally opposite Skeet Ulrich performances, man. But very, very cool, dude. And I love Winona Ryder. I'm a huge Winona Ryder fan from back in the day, man. Obviously, Bram Stoker's Dracula, obviously Beetlejuice, and so much more. I always loved Winona Ryder, man. She's absolutely great. And so I figured, why not, man? I remember watching this years and years ago, way, way back in the day, and it was always cool. It's always one of those sort of movies that there's certain movies out there, certain time periods where it's like a slice of that time period. Like, this movie is a slice of the 90s. Like, it very much is, man. And so I really dug this one. I dug Boys quite a bit, man. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I kind of like this girl that's running away from her problems and meets up with Lucas Haas, and sort of he falls for her, and it's just them sort of coming together and their problems, and I sort of like that. Two people who have experienced misfortune coming together. It's a nice little tale that I really do like, man. So did pick up that. That is the two for the Kino Lorber sale that I picked up. Not bad. Not a crazy amount of stuff, but two that I didn't have before that I definitely wanted. So there you go. I also ended up getting in the mail through Diabolic DVD. I ended up getting the Blu-ray of Fraternity Vacation, man. Look at this. Ooh, nice. Meet Wendell Twed. Would you believe he's about to become America's #1 hunk? What happened to him could happen to you. Or to me. I only wish. Very nice. I mean, you got Tim Robbins here, you got Stephen Jeffries, you've got Barbara Crampton, John Vernon. Oh my god, man, this movie, Lord. I haven't seen this movie in ages, but it's another one of those sort of sex comedies that I had to get in the collection. It's one of those ones that I've been meaning to get for a long while, and I've just been putting it off, man. I'm like, I'll get it here, I'll get it there, eventually I'll pick it up. And it just kept passing me by, and then one day I was on Diabolic, and I'm like, oh, Fraternity Vacation. I wonder if they have it. And they did. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting this one, guys. Another one for the collection. One of those great sex comedies that I had to, man. They just can't make them like this anymore. They just really can't. So, had to get Fraternity Vacation. I then ended up getting through Orbit DVD. I got the Shout Select version, collector's edition Shout Select version of Midnight Run. Yes. Oh, man. This is another title that I've been wanting for quite a while, guys. And when Charles Grodin unfortunately passed away, I was just thinking to myself, like, oh my god, man. Like, what are certain Charles Grodin movies that I don't have that I really want? And I'm thinking to myself, my god, Midnight Run! Why haven't I picked that movie up yet? And I'm like, oh, I had to do it, dude. I'm surprised this movie is not a print at this point, but it's such a great movie. I just love basically the cop and the prisoner and sort of the wacky hijinks that they have to go through. I love this. It's movies like this that really spawned a lot of other movies. I mean, I look at something like Bulletproof back in the day, man, with like Sandler and Wayans and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that movie really wouldn't exist without movies like Midnight Run in a lot of ways, man. And it's just a really fantastic movie that I really, really love. I think De Niro is great here. Charles Grodin is awesome. I love sort of the back and forth. I love the snarkiness. I just, it's so great, man. And you know, sometimes with De Niro, it depends on who he's paired up with. Sometimes he's really good when he's paired up with certain actors, and sometimes it kind of falls a little flat. But here with Grodin, man, they are perfect together, man. It's just awesome, and I love this movie so much, and I really wanted it. So more De Niro love, but especially Charles Grodin love in the collection. I had to do it, guys. Rest in peace, Charles Grodin. Amazing actor, man. Amazing. Then also from Orbit DVD, I ended up picking up the Blu-ray Paramount re-release of In and Out. Look at this, baby. In and Out. I love this movie. I love it. I saw this in the movie theater with my mother, I think I saw it with, man. And we had a ball with this movie. It is one hilarious movie. Basically, Kevin Kline is like this teacher, and one of his students is this major Hollywood actor, and he wins this major award, and he comes out and he says, you know, this teacher really inspired me, and he's gay. And everybody is like, what the fuck? Wait a minute, huh? And like suddenly they're all looking at him, and it's like this big Hollywood thing, and press is coming in, and he's like, what? I'm straight, I swear. And it's just him the entire movie trying to prove that he's straight and epically failing every single time, man. It is amazing here. I think Kevin Kline is hilarious here. I think that Joan Cusack is awesome here. I love towards the end of the movie where she goes on this like major rant, like, is everybody gay? Like she's just going here, and I especially love Bob Newhart, man. Bob Newhart here is fucking hilarious. I love that he's just so uncomfortable around him, even though he's the same guy that he knew like even a day ago. It's just the concept of it. It just gets to him. And towards the end of the movie, they're at this wedding and they're all like doing the conga line at this wedding. And Bob Newhart's having a good time, and then Kevin Kline gets back in back of him and he starts to swing his hips, and Bob Newhart's like, I love it. Oh my god, In and Out is so awesome, man. I love this movie so much, man. I When they announced it, I knew I had to pick it up, man. Oh, so awesome. Then I also ended up getting the Blu-ray DVD combo pack collector's edition Shout Select version of Dudes. I had to, man. I've actually never seen this movie, but it's been something that's been on my radar for quite a long time, actually. It really has. And I also kind of wanted to get it for my girlfriend, who is a huge Penelope Spheris fan. Huge. She loves her movies, her punk sensibility. Of course, she likes the fact that she directed, The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 3, and I think most people really love her for that one. And so she's never seen this one either, so it's as much for her as it is for me. And to dive into more Penelope Spheris love, how can that really be a bad thing? I don't think it is, guys. I love John Cryer. I'm a huge John Cryer fan, so I had to give this a go, man. And last but certainly not least, I ended up picking up the Blu-ray Paramount re-release of A Night at the Roxbury. Score! Yes! Man, I love this movie, man. It is cheesy as shit, ridiculous, over the top, but I fucking love this movie, man. And it's one of those skits from SNL that really honestly works really well as a movie. Basically, these two, loser guys who go to the club, always trying to find the hot chicks, and they're never into them. I can so relate to that. And the idea that they get a shot with these girls and is trying to impress them, and it's all the comedy and wackiness of it. I just love this movie so much, man. And I remember those old SNL skits, and I remember like those times when I would be doing stuff out at work, and like I would be like, I would do that, man. It's so great, dude. I love this movie so much, man. Oh, so good. And this is one of the movies that I actually kind of like Will Ferrell in. So there you go, another Will Ferrell love in the collection. And my God, man, look at this. Oh, look at that. So much physical media love, baby. I think this week I definitely did my due diligence, dare I say. I definitely was representing for all the physical media lovers out there. What do you think? And before I let you guys go, I gotta talk about this very interesting article that I ended up seeing on Variety about summer blockbusters. I thought it was actually kind of very interesting, and rewriting the movie business and the future of streaming. Very fascinating. How about we dive in, shall we? This summer, the movie theater business is essentially starting at square one. For nearly a century, the studio executives responsible for rolling out movies big and small had relied heavily on facts, figures, and past precedent to calculate how a film might perform at the box office. Those instincts helped fuel a $42.5 billion, and that's with a B, a year global industry, at least in pre-pandemic times. All that went by the wayside with COVID-19 and a lot of the Hollywood season as well. It basically turned it completely upside down. And there was obvious unanswered questions. Would obviously audiences come back to the movie theaters to actually see a movie after the whole issues with COVID and a lot of the uncertainty of it, put it this way? But now that films are actually being released, studios can get more granular. Do certain franchises or genres benefit from the big screen experience? After all, Paramount's horror sequel, A Quiet Place Part 2, the first exclusively theatrical release in 8 months, nabbed the biggest opening weekend of the pandemic by far. Then again, people may just be desperate to get out of the house as vaccine rates rise and COVID-19 cases decline. But that's not all, because some movies don't fare as well, like Angelina Jolie's Those Who Wish Me Dead, which opened at a doleful $2.8 million while streaming on HBO Max. With each new movie that's released in theaters, studios and cinema operators are able to fill in some of those blanks. Take The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The umpteenth installment in the sprawling supernatural horror franchise from New Line and Warner Brothers. It eventually debuted in theaters last weekend, generating a promising $24 million. Now, it's also streaming simultaneously on HBO Max. Now, they did end up saying that it might have been stronger if it wasn't launching a week after A Quiet Place Part 2, but there is industry insiders here that say that it is a positive sign in general. Now, it is interesting because now we're doing movies that are hybrid releases, streaming and at the movie theater at the same time. And one of the industry insiders says, in this new world of hybrid releases, it's difficult to assess what constitutes a hit or a solid debut. Streaming services aren't giving out the numbers of views, it's no longer a standard analysis. Even if streaming services decided to divulge any sort of digestible viewership data, the metrics wouldn't necessarily be simple to interpret because there's no longer a one-size-fits-all method to launching movies. Every major studio has its own system, and even those approaches can vary movie to movie, all of which will finally be on display this summer. At the very least, it will test the resolve of the marketing department's task with explaining to its customers that Warner Brothers offerings like In the Heights, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and The Suicide Squad will be available concurrently on HBO Max for no extra charge to subscribers and also in the movie theaters as well. You also have Disney Plus subscribers who can see the superhero venture Black Widow, Jungle Cruise, for a $30 fee on Disney Plus. However, a movie like Free Guy that comes out with Ryan Reynolds won't be available for 45 days after it's released in the movie theaters. Confused yet? Don't worry. It just gets more confusing. Oh, see, though it may be impossible for the average consumer to keep those releases straight, it'll be telling for industry experts to see what is able to break through the noise. This summer is a test kitchen for the industry. It's competitive for the hearts, minds, and wallets of consumers. We're going to have real-world examples of what each studio's model can bring to the table. Whew. Get ready for all that wonderful what's ahead, what's not, what to expect post-pandemic. You know, it's very interesting because Hollywood had its set analysis, right? It knew what it constituted as a hit. It knew that it could get these certain butts in the seats, etc., etc. It knew that. It had it firmly planted in the ground. Yes, there were certain movies that kind of bucked the trend, but that was few and far between. However, now that we're heading towards post-pandemic, that becomes now not as easy as you may think. I mean, now not only are we dealing with movies that are in theaters, but also on streaming platforms at the same time. So what does that mean for, let's say, a family of four? Do they gamble with spending all of that money going to movie theater, or do they just pay a simple $30 fee or join HBO Max and save a hell of a lot of money, time, and hassle? We're living in a lot of strange times at this point, guys. I mean, even as they say in the article, a lot of these streaming services aren't giving away their numbers. That's another thing you have to think about. They're not giving away certain numbers and certain things that they want to do at this point. So even if a movie like Those Who Wish Me Dead from Angelina Jolie, even though that did maybe lower numbers at the box office, maybe it did great numbers on HBO Max. But we will never know that because they don't release the numbers to them. So we're just left hanging in the balance and saying that movie is a loss to the studio when it actually could have been a little bit of a hit. There's really no telling anymore about what's good and what's bad and who's the winners and who's the losers. there's no really telling at this point, guys. I mean, yes, we do see good signs, things like A Quiet Place Part 2, but that's a movie that's been highly anticipated for a long time, and I felt that with the marketing and everything that they did for it, I thought that the push was actually pretty positive, and the word of mouth has been good, which is another thing you have to think about, is word of mouth. It's not just the fact about getting back to the movie theater, it's about people actually going to other people and saying, wow, this movie is really good. It's worth going to the movie theater for. A lot of people forget that word of mouth is still extremely strong, especially post-pandemic. It's probably going to be one of the biggest factors. And of course, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which had some pretty decent box office, but also could have done really well on HBO Max. Again, those numbers just aren't there. And then you also really have to think about Disney Plus. Who is going to go still pay the $30 fee for those movies when, again, you can go right to the theater and save a little bit of money? That's another thing. Or do they still think that they have enough percentage of people that are going to want to pay the $30 that they still feel it's worth it to offer it on the platform? Wow, there's a lot of complications here, guys. There's a lot of complications, and there's a lot of unanswered questions, and there's no one size fits all scenario. There just isn't, especially when it comes to post-pandemic, because are we 100% guaranteed that every summer movie that's going to come out this year is going to make bank? I mean, probably Fast 9 is going to do really well, and there's a lot of other ones that could, but what about Jungle Cruise? Is Jungle Cruise going to make the type of money that they hope? Maybe, but there's no telling at this point. You know, what about Free Guy, which again would have been probably a decent size box office hit, maybe had they released it last year, you know, if of course the pandemic wasn't going on. But now that the pandemic is, certain movies might have been forgotten at this point. And now you have to resell movies yet again that you tried selling like over a year ago. It's just, it's complicated. And movies that might have been a hit like a couple years ago might turn out to be real duds this time. What is going to be the perfect recipe for these Hollywood blockbusters going forward? Who knows? Because what works in 2021 is going to change completely in 2022, because the pandemic might get even better. There might not even really be much of a pandemic anymore, and all the places will be open, and things will shift and change. So what works one year might not work the next year. We're in really sort of rough waters at this point. We're testing the ground here, and certain movies are going to succeed and other movies are going to fail. But are these the examples that we want to base the rest of like the next years in Hollywood for? I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's a little bit of a gamble, and I'm not sure, you know, what's going to be right and what's going to be wrong. I just know that expect within the next year or two that there's going to be a lot of give and take, and there's going to be a lot of, are movie theaters still effective? Is streaming slowing them down? Is streaming is being this big behemoth, and is movie theaters slowing it down? There's going to be a lot of questions that are going to try to be answered, people that are going to do a lot of analysis, and movies that are going to be the guinea pigs at the end of the day. I don't know where it's all going to shake up at the end, but I got to admit, it's pretty fascinating. And going forward, it's going to be a wild ride. That's for damn sure. Definitely let me know what you think about that, guys. It's very fascinating, especially as a movie lover. For me, it doesn't really matter, good, bad, indifferent, how a movie performs, but again, with box office and these studio executives, it still matters, and it's still a big factor in what they release and what they don't and what they make. So going forward, it's definitely a very big factor. So definitely let me know what you think about this one, guys. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely give it the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD Tuesday videos I've done, movie reviews with my friends. obviously Blu-ray pickup videos, movie hunting like Dollar Tree hunts, live streams, and much, much more. If you're a lover of movies and physical media, hit subscribe and become a part of the Film Fan Nation. I want to thank you guys, my really great subscribers out there. You watch all of the videos, you give me really great feedback, great comments, and you go out of your way to support the channel, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it, man. That's one of the reasons why I love doing this. You guys make it worth it so much for me, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. So if you haven't yet subscribed, definitely do that, and keep up to date with everything I'm doing through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. FilmFan108. Keep up to date with everything I'm doing, plus special pictures and videos I do from time to time on social media as well. Alright guys, I will see you back next week for a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about for you. Take care everybody, and happy hunting.